This is Abnormal Entertainment.
I am not a professional.
No, you literally do get paid to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
You are quite literally a professional. We're not professionals because when we should be recording, Gio's playing Zelda.
Oh, we're playing?
We're yes, you're playing.
You're playing.
I'm in the middle of a fight.
We're in the middle of a fight, too, for our existence in the overcrowded sea of podcasts.
Is this official?
Yeah.
Duh.
Like
it's not Facebook official. Like, it's complicated.
Guys, it's a very serious moment. This is our last episode. I'm crying right now. You see this? Hello, welcome to ESS Pod.
Pod. 149 episodes in, and he messed up earlier than any other time he's done the intro.
It was really hard to make myself cry.
He didn't even make his own name. Welcome to ESS Pod, where we slowly make our way through topics.
Your snost.
I forgot how to do this.
Gino.
You have your host here, Gio.
The listeners don't know that we recorded a last episode, at the very last second. We said it was
two.
No, we didn't.
We didn't upload because we're at 148. We recorded a 149 and
no,
150.
we recorded two episodes, but only one of them was the last episode.
Yes.
Yeah, and I forgot to upload. I didn't realize.
Needless to say, I did remind him, but then he said that he was so busy yelling at me for reminding him that he just forgot to upload.
Because you're very sassy when you remind people to do stuff, so I just ignore you.
I was just like, did you
It's a very angry breakup of the pod.
I was like, did you upload the episode? That's all I said.
Let's save our fights for the actual episode. You have your host here.
This is the episode.
No,
it's happening.
Introductions.
Yeah,
I was trying to transition back into the introductions.
They're used to that. Sorry, go ahead.
You have your host here, Gio. Co-host Juanito.
I am here.
Co-host TVB.
Also here.
Co-host Evelyn.
Hello, Kitty.
We still, even though we switched these, we were still in order.
Yep.
Alright, now you can start bitching at me.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Cool, we're back to being friends.
Alright, cool.
I don't know about that. I was actually punching him during our movie experience day.
But out of excitement.
It hurt.
That was true.
It hurt the first time.
The first time?
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't think I punched you that hard.
Yes, you did.
I think you're just being a pussy about it.
I am a pussy.
Ooh, can we say that in this PC culture? I don't know about that.
Am I going to get kicked off the podcast?
I technically said it, though.
Yeah, but we can't blame you because you're female, so it's...
that's what's tripping me out. I keep moving my chair and expecting it to come with me, and it's because I was just sitting in a chair with wheels on it.
Again,
and I'm like, why is it not going?
I have the wheels.
Yeah, we switched seats because I can't hear out of my right ear.
Why?
Because we went to a concert, and I'm an old man. We
Okay.
went to at the drive-in.
Did you guys?
I forgot that you have to
mosh?
elaborate. No, but we were moshed into.
Yeah. See, I'm an old man too, but I brought earplugs. Play enough to give to him. And he was like, no, these feel uncomfortable.
It was.
I'm like, well, the not hearing
You're
them would be way
supposed to
more
switch them
uncomfortable.
and put them in, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they'll expand.
Yeah, but I still felt like something was in there.
That's weird, though.
But now the next 2 days, I feel like something's in
I went
there.
to a concert last week, too, and my hearing was a little ringy for about an hour, but then I went back, and it was like a post-hardcore show, so it was very loud.
Yeah.
But my ears apparently can still hold up.
I don't know, man. I think sound techs or sound mixers at live halls don't know what they're doing anymore.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah.
But it's not even that it's too loud, it's that it sounds terrible. Like,
Yep.
you know, like
Yeah.
peaking problems that we have here sometimes, worse. Because you have, speakers taking up like half of the room, and it sounds terrible. But at least with earplugs, it turns.
I think it has
everything
something to
down.
do with the transition, because a lot of shows at Terminal 5, the opener will sound fine, and then when the main band plays, they sound really bad and everything gets really loud. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason I took my things out, because the opener, they came in, they were very loud, but as the show progressed, they were just very loud because they're very theatrical, and their first song that they played was just obnoxiously loud. Mm-hmm. And then as they got into their show, I took them out because I was just like, oh, I hear them fine, I'm fine, whatever. And then when At the Drive-In started playing, shit was not right, and I got pushed closer to the speaker as well. So that's why I took it out. It was also uncomfortable, but yeah.
I've started standing back more at concerts. When I was younger, I wanted to be as close as possible. But I'm not here. I'm too close to one speaker usually, and not hearing things right. And I can hear things better when I'm back and picking up all of it.
Right. Like when I went when we saw The Darkness, I think we were towards the middle, but still far back. That was at where Irving.
Yeah, it was Irving.
And based on if I didn't hear,
I was there. That's where I was seeing
Yeah.
Census Fell up on
but
the
I feel
second
like
floor.
they have a better.
Irving is easier to stand back because Irving has a higher stage, and I don't know why Terminal 5 has such a low
not Irving
stage.
Webster Hall. But
So I can't see. Webster Hall also has a very low stage, so
Yeah.
I can't see anything at all. Like I don't.
yeah,
I don't even
I had
see,
that issue.
I only see up to people's their heads and above, which is so weird. That like the stage is that low, you know?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's an old stage too.
Terminal 5?
No, Webster Hall.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that one I can excuse, but Terminal 5 they built it like.
Terminal 5.
Aren't there experts for this shit?
I only went to Terminal 5 once and I didn't love it. It was to see Against Me, and yeah, it was kind of hard to hear.
No, I think they're renowned for being bad as a concert venue.
Yeah.
They're just a bad concert venue.
How about Stage 48? Because I went to a concert just recently,
I think
and
that's new. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, me either.
one of our coworkers actually went there, and he was like, "It's all right. The sound is kind of weird," and I felt that way. I wasn't sure if it was the actual artist that didn't sound good, but it was just like it felt like when she was singing, it was like super, like the sound of it is really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And even though she was
Whoa.
singing on top of her track, it just sounded like very like, I don't know, like the sound actually hurt whenever
Yeah.
she performed.
That's how it was. That's what it was for me. And I was like, listen, I don't want to get tinnitus for the rest of my life. So earplugs are fine. And earplugs actually make them sound better. Yeah, that's a very old person thing to say, maybe.
Dulls out the peaks.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah. I saw,
into that.
so I got to see Panic at the Disco at Madison Square Garden. I got some tickets
nice.
through work. And it was up in a box, which I wasn't super psyched about because I've never been further from the stage. But Madison Square Garden is not, it was never built for concerts. And I was actually far enough back that I could kind of pick up the music well enough. And it was one of the better shows I've seen.
Yeah.
Part is because Panic at the Disco is way better than I thought they were live. But in addition to like all the old songs being great and enjoying the new stuff, he did Bohemian Rhapsody with the
wow.
band. They've recorded it. You can listen to it on Spotify. It's very good.
That's interesting.
And that's I obviously will never get to see Queen, but that was a pretty nice.
You know, Queen's playing at Barclays.
Wait, really?
Yeah, and
Let me
think-
rephrase that. I'm never going to see Queen.
Yeah,
I'm never
yeah,
going to
yeah.
see all of Queen.
let me rephrase.
I
It's
like
the new
what I
Queen
saw.
with the new guy.
Adam
but
Lambert.
yeah, but
Wait,
I was
really?
listening to them and they're
Who is
really
that?
good.
Huh.
I was
I'm not
thinking
saying
about,
it wouldn't be. It's
I
just,
was thinking about going. It's about I think 75.
Oh,
not
that's
to be
not too
close.
that's not bad. And Barclays is supposed to be really good as a concert venue.
Yeah, I
it
mean, I've
is.
never been up in the area that we would have to pay $75.
No, I have
for.
friends who've gone and said they're like they designed it thinking of like how is it going to sound around
they
the
sat
whole
up?
area. No, like that's what went into the design of it.
I'm just saying because
I don't know exactly what seat they sat
Yeah,
in.
we've been to Barclays, but we've only done GA.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know GA is awesome, but I don't know. If,
He was sitting, so
Okay.
it wouldn't have been.
so
GA.
I'm considering it. If
Yeah,
it's in the summer,
I'd be interested.
I'd be interested. Like they're good. I check them out. I
Cool.
think they're good enough to like watch and worth the money that they're charging for.
Cool.
Well, Adam has that good range.
He has great range. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Really
has that great range. Not as great as Freddie Mercury, but
Wow,
Yeah, I mean we can't
but
get Freddie Mercury
still,
at this point.
good range.
Until holograms.
I thought that
Didn't
was
they have
good.
already?
Yeah,
I don't
he
know.
did.
Maybe I don't care.
I mean,
I don't want to see a
Tupac,
hologram.
But then that's not really a concert.
Selena.
No,
It's a light show.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the sound is pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically watching a movie, but in a different format.
So, what have you guys been up to?
Speaking of movies, you guys saw one.
Yeah. Go Power Rangers!
That was amazing.
I want that picture to be the image of the last episode.
Of him fisting.
Him slowly fisting.
It was a slow fist.
He's fisting up, which makes sense because he's a short man.
I thought that movie was a solid 7. I have
I
nothing else to
think
say.
that Quan should say it
We use
because,
a five-
like,
we use a
both
5 number, yes,
you and I are kind of
Oh,
like
5 numbers?
Remember, because we did 5 so that
No,
we could
let
do a
the fanboys
0.5
talk
if you
first.
wanted to.
I guess a 3.5.
3.5? Okay. Just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah. A very solid 3.5.
Okay.
It had everything I expected it to have. It was... I was a little surprised by it. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be less held together than it was. I actually thought like I had to... that whenever I talked about it, I would have to like try to make it be a good movie, like some movies that I watch.
Batman vs Superman.
Suicide Squad.
We were both right.
Don't fucking start with that shit.
You know,
Batman
he's
v
very
Superman
sensitive
is a
about
good
it.
movie.
And emotional.
But yeah, no,
Sure
I thought I
thing,
would
Greg
have
Miller
to.
and no one else.
I thought I would have to try to make that movie good, but I did not. No, I just enjoyed it. It was, I'll let people get through their reviews of the movie and then I'll complain about people in the theater.
Evelyn?
I enjoyed it. For me, it was a 4. I got the nostalgia feel to it. I actually enjoyed the quick cameos that there were for Tommy and Kimberly, even though they weren't really doing anything crazy.
Spoilers.
Whatever.
That's really not much of a that's really not a spoiler.
I mean, people expected them to be there. I thought they would be there, but in a different role.
I didn't
That's
know
what
who
they
I
were.
expected to be in the movie.
I was expecting
Kimberly would
Tommy.
be Zordon.
Yeah,
I did
to be fair, there was another cameo. Bryan Cranston.
That's
Wait a
true.
minute.
Well,
He was in the original
he's
show.
not playing
Oh, he
who
was,
he
yes.
played
Yes.
in the original show, though.
Yeah, but neither were Tommy or Kimberly.
That's true.
Technically, it is a cameo. They just
Yeah.
gave it was
How
a
do you
long
know they're
cameo.
not playing the Power Rangers?
No, I'm saying like Bryan Cranston just
Like
had the
the
longest
How
cameo
do you
we've
know
ever
that
seen.
that's not the story? That the original Power Rangers are part of the lore of this Power Ranger movie?
Because that would have required better writing. Anyway, go ahead, Juan. What's your review?
Terrible at writing.
That does sound like terrible writing, actually.
It is.
It was fine. I didn't hate it. You know, I liked more than I disliked, I guess. Whatever that means to people. It's better than Suicide Squad.
That's not saying
I
much.
didn't hate myself.
So like a 3 out of 5?
Yeah, I think if you like these kinds of movies, you'll enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah. It's this kind of movie. That's your argument.
Yeah.
Every time we say a movie's a bad movie.
You're like
it's
you're not
that
supposed
kind of
to.
movie.
You're not supposed to judge it though.
It's not an Oscar movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
So it's
none
like
of
these
us
kinds of
are
movies.
watching movies looking for Oscar
I would give
movies.
fucking Power Rangers an Oscar.
And that's
Way
why
Way more exciting than, like, what won the Oscar this year?
Moonlight.
Oh,
I thought
man.
it was good.
Funny story about Moonlight. Is anyone going to actually watch
I
that
am
movie?
actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah.
I'll probably get around to it. Yeah.
There's a really funny story about that I want to tell the podcast people. Can you guys cover your ears really quick?
Just tell it.
Or actually, it doesn't
spoil it.
ruin. It doesn't spoil it. So, Moonlight's about this guy. He's gay, and I didn't realize that not only is it about this guy, but it's also about his friend. And they kept changing the actors that play the guy, like the two kids. And it was definitely, like, I sat there and I was like, this was made for a white audience. Because I sat there and I was like, the first kid is Puerto Rican, the second kid is Haitian, the third kid is Jamaican. So they didn't feel like the same person to me. Mm-hmm. And I could distinctly tell the type of black that they were. So I thought that I didn't realize the movie was about the same people because I didn't look into the plot of the movie before I watched it. And the only time that I realized it is that in the middle of the movie, as a teenager, like one of his first like sexual experiences is that his best friend like jerks him off on a beach, and then at the end of the movie, there's a flashback of they have like a moment of like remember the beach, and I'm like, oh, they're the same two people. That was hilarious.
That definitely was a spoiler about beach jerk-offs.
Not really.
I don't really care.
Spoilers, he doesn't pay attention when he watches movies.
No, I had no idea
Yeah.
they were the same people. I mean, I
Just
knew
thought
that
it
they
was a
got
movie
jerked off.
following
I
different
mean, he
groups of
missed the
kids.
whole It's Morphin Time. So.
I realized at the end that the main character was the same kid. So I realized it in the second part that the main character was the same kid, but I never knew that the friend was the same friend. Because the friend
Now I just want to see the movie to see how obvious it was
It's
and try to
probably
figure out how
very
you missed
obvious.
it.
guys do not look alike, but it is obviously they probably say his name, and I'm just not paying
Yeah.
attention to names. Yeah.
Shocking.
The names, which would be a part of the dialogue of the film. This is why Gio doesn't like Oscar movies because they require listening.
And again, he
Batman
did
vs
not hear
Superman
what I
does not
said.
require
I
listening.
told you I'm deaf on the side.
He's gotta look
You're
at
talking
pretty
over
pictures.
there.
You're
I'm
deaf on
right in front of
Hold
you.
on, you're deaf on the side now, not always in the past. Don't trump up this
No,
argument.
she says she's talking about why I didn't hear what she said. I didn't hear what she said.
I'm right in front of you.
Wait, speaking of loud people, you had a story?
That was my story.
No, loud people in the theater.
Oh.
Because I'm having a lot of those experiences and I'm not liking it.
I'm not gonna be PC about this. This is the last episode. I don't give a fuck. So we decided to go to this theater because we just had a bad experience at Logan on the 34th Street theater.
Yep.
On the west side.
On the west side, and we had the very.
I've had this bad experience at Kips Bay, by the way.
Well, I didn't know. I hadn't been to Kips Bay since they renovated.
Yeah.
So I keep moving away from theaters where people from like stereotypical Black and Hispanic people that talk during movies and bring inappropriate people to the movies like their children.
Hold on, just when you say like their children, what other inappropriate people get brought to movies?
Like people that talk during movies.
Oh, okay.
Don't bring them to the movies.
Got it, okay.
Or people that fucking take their cell phones out, even though I do it sometimes. But I try to like fucking conceal it. Not someone that like is sitting there going like this. Which we had it during Power Rangers as well. So
I didn't see it.
We went to see Logan. Steve, you were there,
yeah.
And we had the very stereotypical situation of these two Black guys sitting behind us,
directly behind us.
There's just one guy.
No,
he was chatting with his friend.
His friend would respond. He was instigating. Yes. But the one guy kept commenting after everything that happened.
Yeah, he was narrating the movie to the point that. Did you see Logan?
I did.
Okay. Spoilers. He says, "Oh, Logan died."
When it happens, like obviously we're all watching. Like it's a tear-jerking moment.
Yeah,
and
I was getting emotional.
I teared up, and I didn't quite start crying, but that was because I had a hint of anger. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're not at home. I don't understand how that behavior.
Why would you say that at home?
Who are you talking to?
What? Yeah, who are you talking to?
No, but I'm like, if you're at home, I don't care what you say. But like, I just don't understand.
But that
people
scene,
who do that.
for anybody that's seen the movie, like Steve just said,
it's like
very obvious that he died.
Very perfectly.
It's like you don't have to realize that he died. Yeah. Like he died, and the guy goes like 2 seconds. There's a period of time. I don't know what the period of time was, but there was a distinguished period of time between him dying and the guy going, "Oh, Logan died," and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, it was.
So we tried to. We were like, all right, maybe we shouldn't go to 34th Street to the theater because it's like easy access. It's on the A train. That's a line that goes to our neighborhoods. We know the people that are going to go to. That's what we're doing. We're going to go watch a movie. It's a little bit cheaper in the morning. I think we just got to go to the movie when it's full price. That's my next move. But
that was my thought too.
I don't go to matinees because they're
doing
cheaper. I go to matinees because I don't. It's hard for me to pay. It's hard for me to pay attention. Everybody knows that, and it's hard for me to pay attention. Like I have the most attention in the morning, so I like to go watch the movie first thing in the morning, and then like I like to go to the Midtown area because then I can go get Korean food or like do something other than just leaving my house to go watch a movie. Mm-hmm. So that's why I go in the morning, and I actually would go even earlier. Like if there was a 9 a.m. show or something like that, I'd be so into that because that means that you get out like right before noon, which is perfect lunchtime. I always like go to these movies and I have to eat something because I'm hungry during the movie.
I'm definitely more of a fan of going in the morning because
you
still have the rest of the day.
It has nothing to do with price. When I'm not going to movies with you guys, I go to Kips Bay like first showing. Because if I get the first showing, if I go like 10, 11, when it's still a matinee, but it's later, I have the same problem, people talking. If I can get in at like at 9:30, there's nobody there. But I do it because then I get out and I have the whole fucking day.
Yeah.
That's what.
Which is why I don't want to go to full price. It's not because of the price, it's because I don't want to lose my whole afternoon to a film.
And I've realized also that there's no good time because at night, that's when like people are going to movies as an event. And I don't like to see movies when people are yeah, like I don't want to see movies with those. Like, as if you're going to the movie as like a thing with like people, and you're like in your little enclave, then you don't feel disrespectful about like talking to people, like other people during the movie, like because you're going to it as like a thing, and you're not necessarily going to see the movie. You're going to go see a movie.
Just to summarize it, there's obviously more people who do this, but as a generalization, groups of teenagers go to movies in the evening,
exactly,
and they are going to talk to each other.
Yeah, and you can't say shit to a teenager because then they'll just get super aggressive, and they'll just fucking like it just becomes like a thing.
Yeah,
so you definitely can't say anything to them. So then, I was all like, for a good amount of time, like I would go in the morning. Nobody was really there because nobody would wake up to go to the movie theater early, and the discount that you used to get before wasn't that big. I feel like it's gotten because the price of regular movie theaters went up, and that price didn't really go up.
No, it didn't. So say like
it went up like 30 cents.
Yeah, it used to be 13. Now it's like 17. But matinee used to be 7. Now it's 8.
Yeah.
It's not that
Okay,
big a
that's
difference.
So now
No.
you save more money going to a matinee than you used to. Like before, it was like you'd save $6. Now it's like you save like $8.
And I feel like it was a secret at one point in time because we used to go because it was cheap.
Yeah.
Because we were younger, we didn't have that much money.
Yeah, that was a
Like,
long time ago.
Now this is every weekend. There's a movie people want to go see. Apparently, like
Yeah.
way more and more people go to movies.
Yeah, I remember like the other reason we used to go to the morning show was because we would try to get tickets for the Thursday showing. It was one
Yeah.
of my favorite showings. The Thursday.
Yeah,
the
Thursday's been the same thing.
Thursday,
empty.
not the 7 o'clock, the 5:30, 6 o'clock that they don't really do anymore. They only do it at 7 now. And the Thursday 5:30, 6 o'clock. But then people started going to that one, and we couldn't get tickets for it. And it started with like not Star Wars, but I think Age of Ultron. It was really hard to get tickets for Age of Ultron. Me and Steve did get the tickets, but like literally we had to sit in a really shitty spot because we got one of the last tickets.
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah, because I remember when we saw Days of
Or
Future
2014.
Past, we saw it on a Thursday, and the theater was basically empty. There was like maybe 20, 30 people in there, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
Then, later on, as it got more, like, I guess more movies started coming out, and these kind of movies, Thursday showings are almost always full really quickly.
I think what I'm going to start doing for movies I really want to see, which there aren't many. Like, there's movies I want to see, but like a movie I want to enjoy, and I know people are going to ruin it. I wish I'd done this for Logan. Is go to the Alamo Draft House in Brooklyn. Because the Alamo Draft House, you talk, they kick you out. It's a rule. They're like, we can remove you if you're being disruptive, and we will. Which is why they're expanding. Because a lot of people are willing to pay
Or people would take out their
normal
phones.
ticket
Their
price,
phones,
and you can't take out your phone either. Like, people are willing to pay to go there with the understanding of, I actually get to enjoy the movie, and whereas AMC won't do shit to help me,
I don't care.
you guys will help.
I mean, my other thought was I just go to a movie like 2 weeks after it's come out.
There is that too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not like willing to wait for some of them.
Yeah.
You know, like Logan, I wanted to see when it came out. I was really excited
Yeah.
for that.
I mean, there's still some sacred ones. Like, I like what they did with the IMAX, and I think I'm going to start going to more of those movies because it's like their matinee is still $15.
18.
Is it 18? No, because that's the IMAX 3D.
Well, I'm actually.
Yeah. So their matinee is still $15, so there's literally no one in that theater, and I'm like, I'll pay extra. I really like the new IMAX screen because it's like my thing with IMAX has always been, I will pay for it if it's something that I can't get at home, but I don't understand the up price if it's actually worse quality than just watching it in the theater. So the IMAX 3D always used to piss me off because it was like that quality of picture is like not as good as just watching in a normal theater. Now,
Well, IMAX
it's
used to be
it's-
more about sound, yeah.
well,
picture.
yeah. Now it's you get the sound that you're never gonna have at home because it's 3D super loud sound that like if you had that in your house, you're just being an asshole. You can't do that in New York. If you have a house, sure, but like in New York City, you can't do that. So I have that 3D surround sound. Then I also have the screen. They fixed it, and it's HDR 4K. And the 3D, like the actual 3D glasses, are the HDR 4K as well. So I will pay the extra money for it, and no one is in that theater. And you know, I hope people aren't paying for their kids to have like fucking $20 tickets. But then, I don't know.
I don't know. People took their baby to see Daredevil.
Do they have to see like?
Or
Do you
Deadpool,
have to
whatever.
pay?
Deadpool.
Do you have to pay
Same
to
thing
see
this
your?
time around.
I don't think so.
to
You
bring
just
your-
take. There's no way they make you pay to bring a baby.
No,
to the
they
theater.
say-
See, that's fucked up.
But
They
there
shouldn't
are
allow.
child tickets, though.
They shouldn't allow.
Yeah, but I think under 2.
But they shouldn't allow a child into a movie theater.
No, there's no way that's good for child developmentally. Just having loud noises.
I think
for
it's
2 hours.
absolutely okay to like not allow babies into a theater.
You're right, but they're worried about lawsuits or some bullshit, which is dumb. You should just say, look, you can't bring a baby in.
I mean, if they're allowed to say like, you know, a kid can't go into an R-rated movie, then why can't they just say?
Because a kid going into an R-rated movie is the concern that the kid is going to pick up things that they shouldn't be exposed to. A baby's not picking up any of it
Well,
because it's just a baby.
Also, in an R-rated movie, they're not banned. They just can't go without supervision. Like,
Yeah.
if they're
Oh, they
adult
should
ones.
fucking full out ban them.
No, yeah, that's a money thing too.
Yeah.
'cause then they
Same
would-
thing with game ratings. You know, it's M unless your parent buys it for you, which is why game ratings don't work because kids are just like, buy me Grand Theft Auto, and the parent doesn't read it.
Yeah, but I guess I just
Then
realized halfway through
that says
talking-
the problem is parents.
Right,
not
exactly. It's all
necessarily-
parenting. Agreed.
Yeah,
and that's
halfway
why
through-
it's not the baby choosing to come to the theater. It's some shit parent bringing him in.
halfway through talking about this, I realized I didn't say what happened at Power Rangers. So during Power Rangers, we moved away from 34th Street, and I was like, all right, we'll go to Kips Bay. That's on the east side, and I feel like that's harder to get to. I didn't realize the 6th train goes to the Bronx.
I just want to highlight right now. Every train like stretches across the island. At some point, it's going to hit an area that you're going to count.
That would make the joke.
I know.
Yeah.
It's funny. Don't get me wrong. The joke is funny. It's just also true for every train.
But there was a baby.
The L train starts in the West Village. It also goes into
Not
Brooklyn.
only does it go to Bronx, it goes through the Upper East Side.
Yeah, and there's no. But that's the first like major theater on the way out of the Bronx.
Yeah, but they've got that new rule where if you swipe your card in the Bronx, it doesn't let you off in the Upper East Side. You have to dump out in the East
No,
Village.
you know what's happening is that the Upper East Side people now exclusively take that stupid fucking
The W.
white people train. Yeah, the white people train.
It doesn't go up high enough.
It doesn't go anywhere other than the white people areas. It has 3 stops.
Yeah. It doesn't leave mid.
It's like whitest.
Anyway, so the people in Kips Bay, what'd they do?
They brought it. So it looked like a family came in together. It was like an event, and they had like it was a huge family. Like they had 2 rows almost to themselves. I think like Evelyn and myself, and then there was like another 6 people, like a family of 4. Which was kids, but they were quiet the whole time.
Yeah, like they commented.
They're fucking
probably,
great kids.
They probably commented the way that we did.
No, we were louder than them.
Okay, fine. However,
So I just want to highlight you were being part of the problem.
Well, we said during the movie, I like made it a point to say things that I shouldn't be saying, like "oh shit," because there were so many kids there, and I was like, "Fuck that!" Now I'm going to say it.
She's PG-13 though. So.
Yeah.
Exactly. I kept myself PG-13.
Okay, so on his side, he had like a whole full family with a baby and like everything that you can.
Yeah, and like I kept like
except a dog.
The few times that I've had the baby situation, the parent has had like the I guess they got embarrassed, that the kid was making. Like the kid would make like a little bit, the baby would make a little bit of noise throughout the movie, and then it would get to a point where the baby starts crying. They'd pick it up and leave,
Right?
Because they're just embarrassed at the point. Because
you're a parent and you have an obligation as a kid.
Like everybody would turn around and like whatever. I think they were like fucking muffling the kid or something. Like parent services should go to them because like what I would hear is like crying and then crying like as if something went like this to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you like fucking choking the kid? Because I want to choke the kid, but it's not my kid and it's also illegal. So I don't think you're allowed to do that. Or choke the kid outside at least. That way I don't have to hear it. But the baby's crying throughout all like through very inappropriate parts of the movies because it was like parts of the movies where you were supposed to like feel something for like the Power Rangers. They were having like their moments, and the whole thing's just like ruined. They also ruined when like the one time that they play the Power Rangers song. It pissed me off. Absolutely pissed me off.
I didn't hear that part because I was very excited and I was punching Gio during that time.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got punched and I had a baby. I got punched on one side. I had a baby crying on the other. That's what happened when the Power Rangers song played.
I can't go to these things without getting excited because I remember the show and I was like, oh my god, they started.
I remember when I used to watch this and punch.
But like
things.
that sort of stuff, I'm okay with.
I remember that.
Like I don't mind.
I can
like
enact
if somebody
violence.
says I actually enjoy when like people are loud about their enthusiasm for a movie where like they're not really saying something where like you hear a very audible like oh shit when something happens or you hear like a very audible laugh. I think that's part of going to the theater and I'm okay with that. And I feel like you're not being rude because the movie also like will raise the volume in those parts. So it's not like you're hearing what's going on anyway. And it's just part of the excitement. I'm very okay with that. Like, the idea of, like, the people that get, like, super enthusiastic about a movie, whatever. I'm okay with that. It's the fucking... the narrating during a movie? No. The baby crying during the movie? No. The little kids, like, asking questions during a movie? No. If you don't know anything about the movie, then go fucking watch it. Somebody should have prepped the kid about some stuff that happens at the end of the movie so he knows what the name is. And they don't have to make a stupid fucking comment.
Like, who's Tommy?
Typhonus?
I was trying not to say that.
I didn't see anything. It was just like the most obvious thing they could do. Just be like, hey,
I also said
the
it under
other
my
villain.
breath.
Oh, no, it wasn't Ivan News.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, Tommy.
Oh, the Tommy showed up. Okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like that there's like a stinger at the end and they're like, Ivan News is the next villain.
No, they have to show
There will be others.
other people.
I'm not the only one or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just Rita.
Oh, she just says like that there's others coming kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Lord Zed. Basically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would see that.
Was Ivan News movie only? Or was
Yeah.
he- Oh, for some reason I thought you're right. Lord Zed is the one I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of like took him away from the what do you call it? They took him away from like the story because they continue with those types of Rangers after the movie, like the animal ones. And I don't remember seeing Ivan Ooze ever again.
Yeah, I guess it was
Zed.
just a movie.
Yeah, but like in the movie, because I recently rewatched the movie, and Ivan Ooze is supposed to be like Lord Zed's boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
Which
just
is weird.
They just introduced him for the film.
Yeah.
It's
Did
like
they
a-
kill him in the movie?
That's what they do in like most anime films is they'll just introduce a new villain, so it has no real bearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably
Oh,
died.
they killed him?
Yeah, spoiler alerts for a movie from 20 years
Ninja
ago.
Mega Falcon Zord kicked him in the groin and knocked him into the path of Ryan's comet, which happened to be passing. The comet destroyed Ivan on impact.
Oh, okay, that's why I don't mention it.
That's so dumb.
That's what happens. God,
I
Steve.
know.
No, the Power Rangers movie was like worse than the show.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because the Power Rangers movie, I was mentioning to you, Steve, earlier today, that the Power Rangers movie was the first time that the American Power Rangers made their own combat scenes for the
Right, because
for
they
the
just
robots.
used all the stuff from Japanese.
And
show.
those combat scenes were terrible because the Japanese ones were like they knew what they were doing. They've been doing this sort of shit with like they knew how to do a low production thing that
Right, because
like
there's
from the
there's
kaiju
five
films, yeah.
Well, not even kaiju films. They had other shows like Power Rangers. There were like 5 a season.
Yeah,
so they knew how
so
to
they
shoot
yeah
it.
they knew how to shoot that shit really cheap, and it looked not great, but it looked like something.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They were trying to do CGI for this fucking movie, and it was like the 1998
Oh my god, I'm
version of
starting to
CGI.
flap back to what that CGI
Yeah,
is.
it's
I remember
terrible.
It looks like
It's
it was in
so
a different
bad.
world.
I didn't see
It looks like somebody went into like MS Paint and like like fucking not MS Paint, but what was like the thing after MS Paint that
it
you
looked
could make like shapes?
It looked like a cheap PS1 game.
Yeah, like a really shitty PS1 game.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Anyways, Power Rangers was good times.
Yeah,
I don't know where we're gonna watch movies now.
I don't think it's where we watch movies. I think it's when. And there's going to be
Yeah.
some aspect of luck to it that we just can't.
I'll tell you
predict.
this: I've never had a bad experience at Lincoln Square ever. Every time.
My problem with Lincoln Square is that you have to go sometimes downstairs.
It's fine.
What does that have to do with it?
Are you scared of
And those are
being in
smaller
lower
theaters.
ground?
No, that theater like it smells like
it's
pee.
it's old school, and it's also smaller. It's like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
saw Live by Night in there. and
Yeah.
it was fine. I think the only thing I don't like.
I
is
got
it's-
over
it's
the
too
smell.
close.
I think it really just depends on timing and who the audience is going to be. So like I saw Princess Mononoke at 34th, and it was packed, and it was all fans, and it was a good.
But that's a
time.
movie that fans are gonna go watch.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
Power Rangers,
But that's what you thought Power Rangers was going to be, and it
Yes.
actually turned out to be just a bunch of
not
people.
one person was a fan.
Yeah.
Not one person that theater. Like, I mean, not like. I guess maybe there were fans, but not one person was like as enthusiastic as Evelyn and I were,
Yeah.
which I was so surprised about. I was like, I don't know. You always get.
I think my sister was.
I think-
'Cause she wanted to see this movie. I still didn't want to see it, but I went
Yeah,
anyway.
I think,
Yeah.
and granted, this is based on one theater, but I think they might have overestimated not the nostalgia people have for Power Rangers, but how many people would act on that nostalgia and go see it.
I mean, we don't know if it's
Other
doing
people
well
are,
or not.
but I'm saying like
I
other
haven't
people
checked.
are going to see it. I'm just curious, and there's no measure of it. How many
Yeah,
people
I mean,
who are going actually grew up on it versus they
this
just see a
is-
teen action movie? For
This
the
is
kids?
the week after
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast made 100 and what? 167?
Yeah.
Is it 170?
Yeah, so it's
170 million. So
Today's still Saturday when we're recording, so today would be the day to see how much money. I don't know if they'll make anything, but
yeah,
because Beauty and the Beast is still in theaters. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't think it'll make a ton of money. Apparently, this is supposed to be part of 6 movies.
Well, I think what they do is they just sign contracts
That's
for
ambitious.
multiple in the
80
hopes that they
okay.
can get it.
So according to Box Office Mojo, it's looking like Power Rangers might make 40,
40.
and Beauty and the Beast is making 80.
But
That-
I
that's a
mean,
lot, yeah.
yeah. What was the budget between those two films, though? Because it's probably a bit of a difference with the money Disney's throwing at that, especially marketing
I
money.
mean, yeah.
Power Rangers is another movie produced by a Chinese company. Did you see that at the end?
No,
See,
Yeah.
Well, it's because Lionsgate. It's Lionsgate, right?
They're owned
Lionsgate
by
got bought by a Chinese company a year or two
okay.
yeah,
ago.
that's right.
Yeah.
We were talking about it.
Yeah, because Lionsgate owns Nerdist, and I think they talked about it in an episode.
160 versus for Beauty and the Beast. and
Yep.
Yeah, it was 160.
105 for Power Rangers,
okay,
Really?
that's not so bad.
And they're predicting 40 for this weekend.
which is
Yeah.
not too bad, I guess.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
enough
not
that
bad.
they'll.
You know-
But that's just production budget. That's not marketing budget.
production marketing's probably double that.
Yeah, exactly. Which that's actually not great.
I mean,
if they
40
only make-
isn't 40 what Ghostbusters?
I'm
made?
sure that it'll,
No, but I'm saying if they make 40 in their opening weekend, which is when you make what
Yeah.
no, but
40
it's
to
like
50%.
40 here in the US.
Right. So it depends on how it's going to
But
show
didn't
internationally.
Ghostbusters make 40 or 37?
I don't remember.
I remember a number close to 40.
But it also depends on like what Ghostbusters
well, that,
budget
but
was,
yeah, that,
how to do
it
internationally.
was about the same budget, and that killed the Ghostbusters new franchise.
144. And they're making 29.
It's 29 million. the first
Jesus,
one.
how did
Wait, Ghostbusters only made 29 million?
229?
229.
What was the opening? The opening weekend.
Yeah. There's more to compete
Yeah,
with
the
now.
Box office budget, yeah.
There's just more movies to compete
There's,
with.
yeah.
You know,
And
like,
and for me, if I were going to go see a
46.
movie this weekend, it would be Beauty and the Beast, not Power Rangers.
you know, I've seen both of them now. So I've seen Beauty and the Beast and I've seen Power Rangers. I feel as though, even though Beauty and the Beast was prettier and it was well made, that I enjoyed Power Rangers and was more excited during Power Rangers than I was when I was watching Beauty and the Beast.
But is that because of your connection to Power Rangers?
No, because while I was watching the movie, I was singing along with the majority of those songs. All the ones that were actually in the animated movie. I was actually watching and singing along. However, I was more excited about the Power Rangers.
I think that boils down to
The
you wanted to see
feeling-
fighting.
Maybe.
There's fighting in Beauty and the Beast.
Not
Yeah,
really.
there
They
is.
chase
Yeah, there is.
they chase Gaston with pitchforks. But
No, dude, did you forget the end of the movie?
Gaston wasn't being chased anywhere. Gaston was the one that was chasing.
Sorry, not
Yeah,
Gaston.
yeah.
Sorry, not Gaston. The Beast. The Beast is being
Yeah,
chased.
and then
yeah.
and there's
Yeah,
a
but
big
then there's like
climactic fight at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, one fight. How many fights are there in Power Rangers? I would hope more than
Actually,
one.
fight.
There
Really?
was one fight, yeah. yeah.
Which maybe which maybe
They
why
didn't do
I
like
liked
the
it
three
more.
phase, like fight once and get beaten, and then
No.
second
No,
fight.
no.
Oh, really?
They
My-
did-
my-
they did-
Like I said, I like action movies, but that like too much action is exhausting.
They
Okay.
did.
I actually didn't mind
They
that.
did.
Interesting.
They did what? Like it actually kind of like people were telling me this, and I was kind of like, I thought like, oh man, I hate when they do this in movies, but a lot of the movie is not in the suits.
It's them
the
just
good-
figuring out their powers and shit.
Yeah, and
Like
that wasn't.
training.
Yeah, and that wasn't as boring as I thought it would be.
No, it was
Yeah.
Like
that's
I actually really enjoyed their time out of the suits.
Cool.
In fact,
In fact, I bet you the reason that budget wasn't about $40 million more was because
Yeah, 'cause they
Well, I
weren't
did hear
in
they
the
spent
suits.
most of the budget on the. I mean, obviously on the ending, anyways. But they said I was reading some reviews and they were like, it's very obvious they spent the
Yeah.
budget there.
yeah.
Yeah.
because it's very down, like nothing too crazy in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
other than a couple scenes with Rita, but that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
They
know.
did a better job of the fighting too than I thought. You know how there's always in that Power Rangers that they have to become like a team.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really good job of that than I've
With
seen
the
in a
internal
lot.
conflict.
Yeah, internal conflict sort of stuff. Like they did a better job than like a Civil War or something like that. Like I really felt that internal conflict. Except when a baby started crying, then I kind of zoned out.
Then you wanted to turn it into an external conflict.
It was totally an external conflict.
Oh my god, you should have seen him. He was like waving his arms. But yeah, I
He
think
knows. I do it whenever
Yeah.
Marja Carpet show up at Doctor Strange. Oh, you weren't sitting next to me that time.
No.
Juan knows.
was. But yeah, I think if you're gonna they're both good movies. They have like the nostalgia feel. But for me personally, I felt the excitement more for Power Rangers. I was like, I saw characters that I grew up with, and I was just like, holy shit, it's Papa! And I started punching Geo. Whereas when I was seeing Beauty and the Beast, it was just like, okay, this is like the cartoon, but it's with people. And yeah, so everything was pretty much the same. Except for like little things that obviously can't be translated into like live action, but other than that, it was just the animated version, but in live.
Making some turnovers.
So I don't know.
I'm going to see Beauty and the Beast if I see either of them. Great,
Yeah.
compelling.
I'm not telling you to,
opinion,
like-
but in no way do I want to see Power Rangers more than Beauty and the Beast or anything else.
But it's enjoyable.
I'm
You'll
glad
enjoy it.
I'm glad you guys liked it. I'm in absolutely no rush to see that. I'll probably watch it like 7 years from now on a plane.
7 years from now.
Oh no, it'll be-
I'm in literally no. That is
you
so
wouldn't
low
watch
on my
it if
list
it's
to do.
on a plane and it's like one of the options.
Depending on what the other options are, no. There's a lot of other movies that I
Don't you take a
haven't
lot
seen.
of long flights? Like
No,
you have a lot of movies.
No,
to
we've
watch.
talked about this. I haven't traveled much in the last 2 years.
Oh,
Yeah, but you're going on like some kind of sabbatical soon.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be like flying there once.
Oh, just
That was a transition.
Oh, I thought I had another transition planned, but can I talk about that? I actually don't think I can talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Because some people from work listen to this.
Really? People listen to this?
Yeah, I mean, granted, I don't think they'd say anything, but there's one or two coworkers I have who listen to podcasts, and I like mention the name and like, oh, check it out. And then somebody mentioned me like, you haven't recorded in a while. I was like, oh. I was like, shit, I've said a lot of things on the last.
What was the last one? I'm saying we should end. With
I mean, we can edit.
What's going on? Like, what? I don't know. What more personal, I guess. Than
Yeah.
I mean,
or what else is going on in the world too?
oh no, I meant more ending.
Ending. You're
Are
ready?
we-
to
are
go?
we
You're
already-
done.
Not ending.
Are we ready to? Are we? At
No.
that point? Oh, because I had another transition. I was going to say,
Okay.
speaking of things coming out that I might actually be mildly interested in, we saw the Justice League trailer today.
What?
That said, I did want to see Batman vs Superman based off the trailer, and obviously I don't have the highest opinion of the movie now, but this looks more interesting because they're making it, for lack of a better word, more lighthearted.
I watched that trailer, coming as I guess one of the few people sitting in this room that really like. I honestly really enjoyed
the
Batman
29%.
v Superman. No, 29% didn't. When put a gun up to their head, they didn't go like this or this. Rotten Tomatoes does not work, and I agree with
No,
Brett Ratner's
27% means that 27.
63%.
So you're a regular audience.
Yeah,
Who doesn't
I am
understand film.
in the majority.
Art form.
I am in the majority of the people that watch this movie.
To be fair, some of the choices in that does seem like Zack Snyder was trying to make it an art form.
Whatever.
Like, I don't think the Marvel folks are trying to make an art film.
What I was trying to say was that no, he's obviously trying to make like a more serious movie. Yeah, for lack of better words. Like
Right. He tried. I didn't enjoy it.
He tried.
And this one doesn't look like it's going to be as much, which is good. I'd like to
And that was what I was bringing up is like me being force fed this transition of like, well, now let's make a movie that everybody's gonna like. And I'm very hesitant.
What if-
No.
You're
Not
doing
that
a
everyone is going to like.
multinational,
We
multi-million
got a
dollar
very
film.
small percentage of people saying they liked it. Let's
Not-
see if we can expand a bit.
Yeah, not really multi-million.
They're like a
multi-billion dollar
majority.
But that
a majority
easily-
of people said,
that easily
said it wasn't
translates-
fun enough.
No, that
Like,
easily,
make it more fun.
that easily translates.
Yeah,
in,
but-
that could easily translate into let's make a movie for the people that are going to be very audible about this movie to make sure that they're very audible in a positive direction. I didn't want to say critics. They're not
Right, because it's not
necessarily all
critics.
critics.
It's
They're
comic
not
book
necessarily
fans who
all
are the
critics.
loudest.
Yeah, like the Rotten Tomatoes isn't composed of actual critics. First of all, so it's like
We've already had that discussion on the podcast
exactly.
time, so let's-
Yeah. No, I'm just making
Yeah.
sure.
One more time.
I'm making. This is the last.
Do you guys know how Rotten Tomatoes works?
Gia still doesn't.
Obviously.
I do, and that's what I am
So-
stating.
So
Anyway,
the trailer looks
That's
cool.
why he likes Joe Blow.
yeah.
Except there's no seventh
No seventh.
member of the league. It's going to be 6.
Oh yeah, you make the league.
Well, do you think that they strayed away from that because they don't want to spoil that one Green Lantern shows up in the middle of the fucking movie? Or,
I don't think he shows
in
up
the
in this
middle.
movie. I think he shows up in whatever the Dark Side movie is. Like,
wasn't that-
when's the Green Lantern movie planned?
I don't even know. I think they changed the
2019.
schedule because the schedule
Oh,
keeps changing.
when's the next Dark?
No, I
Justice
wouldn't.
League
I wouldn't
movie?
take that to heart.
Oh yeah,
because
2019 was scheduled right now.
I
The
assumed
schedule-
they were
Oh,
going
that's
to do a
right.
Green Lantern
Because
movie
it pushed back
before the
Batman.
final.
Let's talk about that.
I thought it was going to be a Green Lantern movie before the final League movie. By
No.
final, I mean the Dark Side one.
No, 2019 is the next Justice League movie as well. So I think the Green Lantern and the Justice League are scheduled for the same year at this time.
But theoretically, Lantern could come out in the spring and then League in the fall. And
But Juan's right in the fact that
Lantern could
the
be in it.
schedule is completely fucked up. So there's only one movie scheduled for next year now. They
is which
moved
one?
Batman out of next year.
Batman doesn't even have a date.
Yeah, it doesn't have a date anymore.
Well, yeah, with all the director issues, that makes sense.
Yeah, so Batman doesn't have a date anymore.
According to Wikipedia, it's Aquaman next year, Shazam 2019, Cyborg 2020.
Oh, there's
Green
no
Lantern.
second Justice League anymore?
There's no second Justice League anymore.
Oh.
So the Batman doesn't have a
Oh,
date.
Untitled Justice League.
No, it doesn't. Like it doesn't have like a.
A date.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
theoretically, it could be after Lantern.
The Flash doesn't have a date anymore.
No, because they had lost
It's the last
everybody.
one, yeah. So
That's insane. Like for DC, that their schedule is completely flipped. Marvel's.
I like that.
I like that they don't have a schedule anymore.
Yeah,
because it seems like the studio has given up on their like, we're gonna make sure that we have a movie every year, and it seems what they're evolving into is that they're kind of splitting up what the DC cinematic universe is, and they're like, well, if we can get away with making something like Suicide Squad, where it's just gonna like make money, it's just like a fucking blockbuster, and people can bitch about it, but eventually, like, if people keep going and watch these movies, and they have, because you have to admit, like, Suicide Squad had appeal to teenagers, like, people liked it. I would argue even people, there's a more vocal group and following to Suicide Squad than there is for BVS, in my opinion. Like if you, if you look at like memes and shit like that, people are like into it.
There's you mean people are
like
more
internet,
into
like internet society, like people are like into it. Like
really?
if Tumblr was still around, like there would be like, I mean, it is still around, but if Tumblr was as popular as it used to be, like you would see like Tumblr pages dedicated to this shit. It's like popular amongst like the hot topic crews, what I call them, and it's like legitimately popular amongst them. Like they legitimately like it. They're all into it. That's why they're gonna go ahead and make that Suicide Squad 2. Is like there's a market for it, and more of a market for it than there was for BVS. Like, I think that at this point they're more conducive to think like we can make that exact same movie again and make money again. But if we did that for BVS, we wouldn't make money again. So I feel like what's happening at the studio is they're like, and it sort of shows for next year, is like they're gonna have the main line with like Aquaman and Flash, like they were trying to do, and then branch off on this sideline with this market that they found. And that's where they brought up Sirens, and they brought up like Justice League 2 and whatever else they want to come up with. Like they can do a Lobo film, and they can do all this stuff. Like they can kind of keep pushing into that market until they stop making money with it. And that's what I see the studio doing now. That's what they said for next year. They're done trying to push Batman into next year. They've realized it's not going to happen, so they moved it. They don't have a date for it anymore. And they talked about maybe doing the Flash for next year, but there's not enough time to do that. And I like that. I like that they're going to have two kind of different sects of what their films are. I like both of them, so that's cool for me. I'm going to get two types of movies that I like. And that's kind of how they'll be able to differentiate, and we'll see where they go with stuff. But
I don't know. My thing is more like I like that they're it seems like they're not competing anymore, and they're trying to just make sure that they don't rush anything.
No, but also I think when by the time they're talking about Aquaman's next year, and then Justice League doesn't have a date anymore, Batman doesn't have a date anymore. Like I think Marvel's going to be through their key phases, and I think a lot of people are going to be in the same boat I'm in, which is like once this war's over, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like I want to see the conclusion of this Avengers set.
I know a lot of people that already don't give a shit.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, I don't care about Marvel Phase 4, which is when I think DC's more of their movies are theoretically going to come out, is like the 2019, 2020, 2021. Mm-hmm. What I think the last date for Part 2 of Infinity War is 2020, I believe.
Yeah.
But, like, they'll be done.
It's 2 years from now.
Yeah. Well, that's 3 years. So 2019?
It's in production, I think, 2 years from now.
Okay, whatever. My point is just I think DC's going to be coming into their heroes who people aren't sick of by the time everyone's like, we've had 20 Marvel movies. I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially because they keep making the same.
Unless Marvel shifts the way that they make movies, which not that they could, but if they somehow they were like, you know what, Logan was a success and Deadpool was a success, and it's not the movies we're making. Like, let's start letting people experiment with.
We don't know
if
that's not going to happen because Thor. Feels in the way that they've presented it to us so far that maybe this is the first one where they're going to do that.
Well, and to be fair, Guardians was good. They've had one.
But Guardians has become Guardians has evolved into a Marvel thing though. And James Gunn, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, but like the trailers look like it. It's
more of the first.
Yeah, I think it looks like more of the first.
Yeah,
which is the Marvel thing.
No, the first one really wasn't.
The thing that I like so much about Guardians, and I don't think I could vocalize, and we might have when we first saw it, but like, Guardians is so far removed from the Marvel thing.
Yeah.
Other than the Infinity Stones, there's no tie. Other than Guardians of the Galaxy is a Marvel property that they made into a movie. Like, you strip away the Marvel name, the Infinity Stones. Say like Star-Lord and Gamora and Drax are all original characters. it still feels like an original movie.
But
Yeah.
they're all very prominently in the Infinity War.
But they
Yeah, but
will
that
be.
has nothing
But
to do with
that
those,
has-
that
I'm talking
movie
about- I'm
feeling
talking
like
about
other movies.
you honestly think that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 will not do anything to tie
I don't know.
into the
No, hold on. We're
See,
talking
I'm
about
not-
two different
I'm
things.
talking about two different
I was saying, and Juan is agreeing with me, and I don't think you're hearing the point we're arguing, which is
Talking about just the original
Guardians, and probably Guardians 2 does not feel like it's following the same Marvel formula that the
Right.
other Marvel
Yes.
movies do. It feels like a
Yes.
different movie, yes, versus all the others, and it's because they let James Gunn experiment because they're like, who cares about this?
Yeah, they're right.
Once Phase 3 is over, and arguably all the core
Well, what you
Avengers are
said
gone,
happens, yeah. Well-
I think hopefully what they will do, because I think they are hearing that people are getting sick of the formulas, they're like, we've got some other heroes, let's let people experiment a bit more because we've moved through our main cast and the main storyline we've been building for 15 years. And that's
Yeah.
the only way they can compete. Because if they put out more movies like the ones that have been coming out, like Doctor Strange and Ant-Man and obviously the core heroes, DC's going to win
You know,
because
I-
they're
Yeah,
doing
I
something
guess
else.
I guess my distrust in it is that we said it for Aquaman, we said it for Doctor Strange, so now I'm saying that this is the third time you fool me, sort of thing, and I'm like, is it gonna happen? Because it really just feels like, oh, sorry,
Well, it
really
did
just-
actually, because you're choosing to pay attention to Ant-Man, but you're not choosing to pay attention to Guardians. So technically, they're 1 and 3.
But Guardians
Guardians was good.
Yeah, well,
wasn't
if
Guardians in
Ant-Man was-
production before the Marvel formula really set in.
No, but that's not the point. I'm not talking about what happened before it came out. I'm talking about literally right now. If we all lost our memories and we forgot what that Marvel was doing in cinematic universe, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 was the only movie, it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie outright.
No.
It feels like a Marvel movie because those are Marvel characters and we know them as they are. Like,
But that's the only reason.
That's the only reason. Now, I will concede to you that yes, we don't know yet until Volume 2 how that will turn out. And if it ends up being another Marvel movie where like it's too safe and they don't really it doesn't feel like a James Gunn movie anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then yes, I will agree with you
Yeah.
that there's no hope really for them ever changing the formula.
Sure.
Because that would be the movie to do it with. Because it's not what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy has no effect on Earth.
Sure.
Basically.
And I'll admit
That's
that
right.
I am also projecting from like sitting there and seeing the transition of what Captain America started as and then ended up being, and Iron Man started as and ended up being.
You mean between the first movie and the
Yeah.
later movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll concede to you that point.
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
agree with
Yeah.
you. And,
So
like,
I am
it's-
definitely. I will admit I am. projecting.
Unlike Guardians, unlike Ant-Man and Doctor Strange or whatever else
Yeah.
wasn't the main Avengers line, those movies of Ant-Man and Doctor Strange felt like Iron Man light.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy
Yes.
does not have that problem.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point,
And I
it's just
think
unfortunate.
the route they end up going is they're like, well, let's experiment a bit more when we start introducing new heroes again.
And
Like,
I think
hope-
Thor.
they
I think
have
Ragnarok
to.
might be another. Like if they take that chance with Thor,
Mm-hmm.
just based on the fucking Jeff Goldblum and like Nia, he
And
looks
I-
like a fucking switch.
And I think I think they are, because the Thor movies make the least of all of them. Like the Thor
Yeah,
movies
yeah.
don't do as well.
Nobody knows those movies. Like,
But the
most-
problem is
That's true,
my
actually.
worry with the Thor is that they went ahead and said, well, Thor directly leads to Infinity War though, and that's
fine.
the direct transition. It's like, well,
But
it's
there was-
fine,
but there was
but
room
how
to
much
fix.
is the studio going to give them room to do stuff? Because we're sitting there going,
Oh, yeah, you're right, okay.
oh, they're gonna let Ty whatever what's his name, Taiki,
Taekwondo, what something?
Yeah,
I don't know his name.
some TW.
Mr. New Zealand.
TW. Let's call him TW.
Mr. New
I do
Zealand.
know that those are his initials, and we're like, oh, that dude makes some really interesting movies.
He
Not-
does.
We got
not
2
necessarily-
others coming up, by the way.
Which one?
Black Panther and
Oh, right.
I
Miss
don't know
Marvel.
anything about.
And I don't either. But my point is, like, there are 2 more chances for them before this saga ends to give someone a shot, especially with Miss Marvel, because Miss Marvel has no. Miss Marvel still.
Is
Miss Marvel still
part
happening?
of Phase 3? Yeah.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard anything about it, but she's got no involvement yet. That could be anything. Also,
2019.
interesting to point out, it's been 15. When did Iron Man 1 come out? Like 2005? Huh?
Doesn't it?
2008. Okay, so it's been 10 years.
Almost.
DC beat Marvel to having a female lead character
Oh, yeah.
in a superhero movie, which is ridiculous. Like, guys, you fucked up.
And DC is gonna.
And also, Spider-Man's the first time they haven't had just somebody in their mid-30s as the
Marvel
main
was able to
white male.
beat, because of like Black Panther's role in Civil War 2. I'll give it to them.
Oh,
Have like a lead be a black person, because
Right.
I never felt like Terry Rhodes or or what's the other
Bucky.
guy? Or,
No, not Bucky.
Falcon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm blanking on his name,
Falcon
but yeah.
and War Machine.
Terry
Terrence
Rhodes.
Howard slash
Terry
Terry Rhodes is War Machine.
no,
Yeah.
Terrence
But-
Howard slash Don Cheadle.
Right.
That's like
So
John.
they-
I couldn't remember their real.
Yeah, not only did they not let a
Exactly.
black man lead, they didn't let a black man repeat in a film.
Right.
That was the other thing I
That's
liked
his
about
fault.
the trailer. Going back to it, every single like piece of Cyborg that I keep seeing, he keeps scowling, and I'm like, that's not his character at all. Cyborg.
Okay.
Everything we've seen so
He-
far.
he
of
looks
him,
unhappy.
He looks very uncomfortable and like, and I'm like, that's not Cyborg. Like Cyborg is more so what they're having Ezra Miller play, but without the like issues. Like he's like the fun-loving guy,
Yeah.
but without like the mental. Like I think they're trying to play like
He's
Ezra
Ghost in
Miller.
the Shell. He's struggling with his human.
No, I mean they're trying to play Ezra Miller as
Oh, I
like
meant
autistic
Cyborg.
or like having like some sort of like thing.
Yeah, I want to put huge quotes on autistic because Hollywood's approach to autistic is, it just means you're really smart, but you're
And
bad
you
in
know,
social
you can see-
situations.
you
So
can see-
no,
Yes.
autism is really
The
hard.
the
Fuck you
social
guys.
they love to do that. The
Yeah.
social thing.
Yeah,
So
really
they're
do.
trying to play that with Ezra Miller, and I was like, besides that, Cyborg never really had that, but he does have like that fun-loving
Yeah,
thing that.
I watched Teen Titans. I know what
I
Cyborg's
know.
like.
That's what I was
Well,
like,
that's extreme though.
Yeah,
But
I
like
know.
when Cyborg has joined the Justice League and seriously joined it,
Mm-hmm.
he's always like
this
the
is an
comedic
adult
foil.
there. Duh.
But yeah,
17
no.
type.
In the trailer, he finally like. I was like, all
loves
right,
pizza.
all right, I'm with it.
Yes.
I'm doing. All right, let's do. Yeah, okay,
I would say
okay. Not the teaser trailer. The teaser trailer, you're still scowling, but in the actual trailer, I'm like, okay, maybe you guys do know what you're doing. That's right. Jeff Johns is part of this. Okay, I'm just gonna
Yes.
go
Leave
sit
this
back
guy
in my.
to Superman.
Yeah, let me go sit.
guy
I'm gonna
fans
sit in my
just
chair. Yeah.
I had a question about that trailer we just saw for
Sure.
Justice League. So at one point there was this chick, and she looked like Hawkgirl.
Wait, you mean Lois Lane
Yeah, you
in the
mean Lois
street?
Lane?
It was
In the
Lois
No.
street,
Lane.
that was the only other woman we saw.
No, it was a dark scene, and it was like a battle scene, and it was not. Wonder Woman.
It was
Didn't we see more of the
Aqua
Amazonians?
lady.
Oh, Mara.
Mara.
That's
Mara.
Aquaman's
Okay.
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
Also, we saw theoretically what looked like a war, and the Amazonians were there.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that's like a flash forward, because if this turns into somehow the world's a war zone, I think that's going to be kind of weird.
I would forgive it for this one.
I mean, they'd have to...
As long as it's not a fucking cloud in the sky or a light beam, I'll be okay with it. You know what I mean?
No, but it was just like literally just a dry desert plain
Power
with like
Rangers-
thousands of parademons running at Amazonians on
Power
horses.
Rangers
And I was
did
like,
the whole like the world's about to end, but at least they went underground instead. Of
I think it was. It looked honestly.
They didn't really go underground.
well,
They
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
show it because they didn't have the money.
It's fine. Probably didn't say
Testing
anything
1,
super
2, 3.
important.
That's
It's
fine.
recording now.
Yeah, that was recording. Well, we lost some time.
It wouldn't be an episode
Yeah, it wouldn't be a
if we
fun
didn't lose
episode.
something.
I don't remember where this is.
We were talking
We were-
about the last thing I said was the underground thing.
And you talked about the CGI, and then your point. You said Marvel lost all our hype when they first showed Thanos, and my argument is all they have to do to get people hyped about Thanos is give him a real scene in the movie before it, which is going to be Miss Marvel
No,
or
it's
Captain
Thor.
Marvel. Thor,
It's
which
Thor.
is fine because I mean, if you think about it, we've had probably 50 seconds total of Thanos ever. He just shows up, and it's like a stinger where you're just like, oh,
But
something
it's
is
not.
coming.
It's not really Thor though. It would be Infinity War.
No, because-
the Infinity War is not the fight with Thanos. Right?
No, but it's in
first one isn't.
the first one isn't, but I'm sure that it's related to him. Like it's what's going to
Oh,
bring.
it has
him all-
to be, 'cause
right,
it's-
right. So
it's
my
the
point is
stopping
he'll
of the
be
making of the
in
glove.
he'll be in Infinity War 1. He may not be the main fight, obviously, but he'll be in it. So all they have to do is get us hyped for that, and all they have to do for that is show a legitimate bit of Thanos and like have him say like a bit about what the fuck he's doing. Or like initiating the Infinity
Just-
War.
I think,
He's
I
just
don't
there
know
in the
if- I don't know
background.
if anyone's made the argument, but it's kind of hard to still be hyped about a guy we first saw 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I agree.
over 5
So-
years ago we saw him.
2012 was when it came out.
It was
Right?
Avengers
Yeah,
2012.
yeah, 2012.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long.
Wow, it hasn't
So-
been that long since
No.
Avengers. They made a
But
lot
I
of
think that's all
movies
it's going to
since
take
Avengers.
because like we got hyped, but we weren't hyped for anything in particular. People were just like, oh, there's this bad guy collecting the stones.
it's
like,
Thanos.
like the stones do something, gives him a glove or whatever. But like he can actually have a minute or two scene like hinting at what he's been doing and sending the crawl. Or I don't know how they're doing Infinity War, but like sending the crawl to Earth. and that would be the hype. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
we're finally getting what we've never known what the fuck he was
What's
doing.
been
Now we know
building
what's
up
happening.
in the background for 5 years.
Because as much hype as there was, it wasn't hype of something's coming. It's just there's this dude, and we know eventually he'll do something. I think they can do that, but I think their problem is what comes
this
after.
year, I think, to make sure people remember that there's actually a big bad menace coming.
It's just crazy how much money they're throwing into this. Like, not that I don't think it'll make its money back, but it has to do well.
What's the budget?
I don't know. I just know they're throwing a shit ton of money in it. I watched a video of
The hype video?
No, I mean maybe it was the kid playing
one.
the kid playing Spider-Man and Tony and the other one, talking about like how they're working together to film it.
Yeah. I mean, they did that hype video because of what I hope that they're conscious of what I said. Like, a lot of people have...
Yeah.
Moved on, kind of?
Yeah, like, I don't care about Infinity War.
Over it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have we don't even have a trailer for fucking Thor. Like, how could we care about this Infinity War thing?
Well, Thor is this fall, right?
Yeah.
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 But they don't
we just got the Justice League one.
Yeah, they don't... Well, this is the second one we get.
But then, DC, Warner Brothers and Disney are in different stages.
Right.
Yeah. We'll get a
I'm
Thor
just saying,
trailer
we've got
probably
some
like
time.
mid-April.
Yeah. We've got some time before we
that's
get
how
a
they
trailer.
typically
I appreciate that they're doing that. I don't want a trailer this early. Like, let the movie be a little closer before you start telling me about it. Because I've got other things I'm excited about right now.
It doesn't say?
Doesn't say no.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of money. I mean, they're filming the whole thing on 3D cameras. The entire movie.
IMAX
cameras, whatever. But, like, that's not going to be cheap.
No.
So, we'll see what happens. And then it'll be over. It'll be DC's turn.
Oh, so it's like a 1 and 2? Because it's coming out to the...
So it's not part 1 and part 2. It's like...
Infinity War, and then the other one has a different name, right?
And they come out one after another. Like, it's May 4th, 2018.
It's probably going to be Infinity War, and then, like, the Infinity Gauntlet, I assume would be what they name the sequel. Something like that.
Perhaps.
Yeah. We'll see. We got other things to watch this
They'll
year.
resurrect Quicksilver, and we'll cash in on that bet from...
Yeah, that bet, which, I definitely won.
You think by then Colin will be back on Kind of Funny?
No.
Wow. That's so sad.
It's alright. Gave me something to give my money to. I've been watching a lot less of their content anyways, because I'm like, I'm tired of... Like, I like them, but I can't...
It's become very, like, trifle ever since Colin left.
No, even when Colin was on it, I was watching less of it the last few months. It's just,
stopped
like, I can't listen to him talk about every video game. And, like, Game Over Greggy, like, I'd skip a lot of sections, because I'm like, you guys don't... Because they do, like, let's talk about everybody's topic for 15 minutes. I'm like, some of these could be done in 3.
Yeah. Or not even like
Colin brings on something and just talks for 15 minutes.
He brings the interesting topics, but he's the only one who talks for the entire time.
He's like, what do you guys think about what's going on in the election? And like, we don't care. And I'm like, I get that it's overwhelming, but like, I'd be interested to hear you guys talk about it, because I know Colin has a very different opinion from Tim.
Right.
And to hear someone actually challenge him would be nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, I never gave money to Kind of Funny. Maybe I'll throw him a few bucks for something, not for subscription, but just like I consumed a lot of their content. But I think I've enjoyed Colin's 3 emails of like articles to read and his take on it more than I've enjoyed the last 2 months of content from Kind of Funny. All of them.
They've been great. And I mean...
And I'm watching the news more now, just because like I'm actually concerned somewhat. I'm going to subscribe to Washington Post, because CNN is garbage. They're really bad.
This is what I have to tell anyone.
I'm going to use other sources.
Pick your bias sources. That's fine. Colin himself said, "I don't mind bias sources. Just be honest."
And CNN is very
biased.
biased.
Don't get your news from the TV.
Yeah.
Read reporting like what he does. He gets his news from the AP.
And Reuters and Washington Post. He threw out Washington Post because they're the ones who've been breaking a lot of these stories. Washington Post and AP.
I don't get my news from cable at all. I always get my news from either straight from the reporters. I follow a lot of reporters. I follow a lot of newspapers. I will mention the ones you guys work for.
Yeah.
And I just follow politicians.
Yours is okay.
Yeah, it isn't that bad.
I only read mine.
But
because I have to.
The thing that did it for me is they play CNN at work, and it was about the wiretapping thing.
I can't.
And they had Sean Spicer on, and they were asking him like, the president said wiretap, and Sean Spicer goes, the president never he didn't mean wiretapping specifically. He meant like surveillance, blah blah. And like that's what he said. Granted, no, we know Trump said it. He backtracks on everything he ever says, but it doesn't even matter because let's pretend he didn't mean wiretapping, he meant surveillance. Still false. Let's go with that. It doesn't matter. And they immediately bring someone on after Sean Spicer says the president never meant wiretapping, he meant surveillance, and they bring somebody else on to be like, the president said the word wiretap. I was like, why are you guys fucking talking about this? Like, go after the bigger deal. There was no surveillance at all. Like, be like, sure, let's pretend he's right and do it. And that's like, all they do.
I hate when TV becomes like a hype machine essentially, and like that's all I ever
like
get.
How they're advertising that like we have
no, it's like everything that I ever see on CNN, and you know I only see CNN because it's on at the gym, so I don't see like I don't actually hear it. I just see the headline and I could barely read it, but it's all like it feels like it's that one kid at the back of the class is going, yeah, fuck that kid up. Like it just. Honestly, like it is like calm the fuck down. You're supposed to be, I'm like,
well, the countdowns with like we have somebody coming out. We are showing like Bernie Sanders speaking 3 days from now, and there's a countdown clock in the bottom. Like what? Yeah,
it's like we're here. We're women Trump supporters. Make fun of them.
But I'm gonna start subscribing to a few news sources because I want to give them some money because I know in general their subscriptions are down and there's like a lot of media.
They're going up actually.
Some of them are, but my concern being there's so many media sources out there and so many of them are garbage that I want to do what I can to keep around the good ones.
It's better to have more than one because then you can cross.
Here's my thing, and coming from the realm that I'm in, if you don't pay for the news, advertising has to pay for the news.
Yep.
And if advertising's paying for the news, then the brands can get to control what's going on.
Yep. Clicks and the brand,
yeah. And Washington Post isn't even really that liberal, so I'm like, if anything, I'm kind of shifting sides. And Colin obviously isn't either.
Pretty neutral. They do both sides really well.
But I believe they used to be more conservative. I think it's shifted to just be more neutral. But I'm like, you know, it's not what I used to, you know, it's Reddit and Jon Stewart and CNN. And I'm like, you know, CNN's way more biased than it used to be. I'm moving away from this. And just for the heck of it, every once in a while, I'll just load up FoxNews.com and Breitbart just because I'm curious what they're saying. The stories. I don't believe a fucking word of it, but I'm just curious what their side is.
I've never read Breitbart.
It's garbage. It's real garbage.
It's news.
With a very like the descriptions to me sound
they don't break news.
Yeah, the descriptions to me
like
feels
even
like it's
when they were talking about how they lost
the
vote, like the vote didn't happen. That article said CNN is reporting that. Like they don't break news. Breitbart just comments on news.
It's a blog. It's a glorified blog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've always
Fox News' website, by the way, is not good. No, it looks really bad. And the header is a giant ad for "It was Hyundai for me." I'm like, this isn't a newspaper website.
Yeah, you gotta pay for the shit that you want.
Yeah. So I'm like becoming more of a real adult and spreading out my news sources. I'm learning things.
I'm not
it's weird.
Say anything
though. Yeah.
What else has happened since we've been out? I feel like we lost a good chunk of the podcast.
No, just like 10 minutes.
That's a good chunk of. That's 10%.
No, it's not. If it's
more.
Let's not turn this into a percentages podcast.
I'm not participating as it involves math.
It's a 6.
All right. Well, let's talk about what we're doing now that we have. Or we can talk about why we are no longer doing the podcast, and then we can talk about
because you're being a baby.
Gio hates me.
Yeah, I can't stand Steve.
Well, we needed a break.
Yes.
So we took 3 months off.
Did we all need No, let's be fair. Did we all need a break?
I think I needed a break.
I enjoyed doing it, but granted, I wasn't putting as much work into finding articles. I liked it more because I just viewed it as like catching up with you guys. Like we were never trying to make this a big thing.
No.
Like we were never gonna get Patreons or anything like that.
At a certain...
I just viewed it as like, hey guys, let's hang out in a chat for an hour and like catch up. Yeah,
I didn't want to do more stuff, and I never thought of like a Patreon. Like I never thought of like having a following, but I wanted to like.
I would have loved to. I just didn't see it going though. Yeah, we tried to do the videos.
Yeah, no,
we never took off with it.
Yeah.
Like we didn't. I'm still down to if you want to, but it wasn't like the whole thing of turning the podcast into a multimedia source thing. Like wasn't going anywhere. We tried to record a review once. It didn't go too hot. Yeah.
It was just
not good.
A very heated debate.
Not really.
It just wasn't a good video. It was just not a good video. It didn't warrant being out there. Like there's so many videos out there, and I think we were reviewing Batman vs Superman. Like we weren't offering anything that wasn't out there.
That's kind of how I ended up feeling about it. Like we're a needle in a haystack of better, bigger. Like, not necessarily that like you said, that's the thing. It's like, at a certain point, you started feeling like work.
Mm.
Yeah, because we
Even
never
though
nailed down
really
like a
wasn't.
format
Like,
or anything.
When it started feeling like work for me, I kind of just fell out of love with it. And it wasn't suddenly. Like, Geo was, Colin's tweet, for example, to bring it back to that. Like, I
Yeah.
felt this way for a long time. For a couple of years, actually. And I did it out of obligation to you guys because I didn't want to...
I forget what...
Didn't we only do it for a couple of years?
I forget what
No, we
was
did for a
my...
while.
No, we've done it for 3 years.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I forget what was Colin's, because we're at episode 150, so 50
It was
episodes.
around 145.
About 50
it was
episodes
145.
a year.
It was 145. I think.
I think
when
before
you,
we hit 100, that's when I was like...
No, it's,
Oh, no, I
it's
mean, no,
3 years because...
No, I
know
agree,
it's 3 years
I agree with the
because-
3 years. No, there's no debate about that.
Oh.
He's saying the comment. It was around 145. We were like, let's hit 150 and finish.
Yes, that's when we decided to...
Decided, yeah.
But I
Oh,
was
that's
kinda-
right,
I was
we
kinda-
did decide
I was
to
kinda out of it
before we
after that.
finished it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to,
I forget-
I did like the hang out part. I just didn't like the whatever minimal amount of work I did because it made it feel like work. It wasn't fun anymore.
I forget...
I would have moments where I peak and valley.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the election was Colin's tweet for me. What made me fall off, because it was like... So, the reason I finally, like, felt the way you did about the podcast, and I had the moment where I was like... I feel like we're drained... Like, what I said was, like, I feel... This is super pretentious, but I was like, I feel artistically drained. Like, I can't come up with topics anymore that are even of interest to me. Like, I don't want to talk about them if they're not even of interest to me. How are they going to be of interest to anyone else? And it's like, what are we going to talk about? Like, are we going to be essentially what Facebook has become, where it's like, people are on either side of an opinion, and we're not having constructive discourse because we keep having the discourse over and over. So we're just repeating ourselves because we don't really care that much. And then we're also like holding stuff back because there's only so much we can say on the podcast. You had people listening on your thing. I was always reluctant to like...
Although, to be fair, the only thing I was concerned about saying was like things like I want to leave work or something like that. That was it. Hypothetically, like I want to leave work or my yeah.
No, yeah, but like
But I get what you're saying because you can say some stuff because of your job too.
Yeah, like I went from when I started doing this podcast being in a position where if somebody randomly picked this up and said something about it, my job was never at risk because nobody was gunning for me that way. To where I sit now, where it's like I gotta be careful with the things that I say. I have to be like, I have a work persona and I have a life persona because it's like where I sit and what I do. It's like I have to do that.
It's funny you say that because I don't know if you remember the very first episode we did. That's something we talked about.
Yeah,
we wanted this to be a place where we could just say whatever the fuck we wanted without fear.
Yeah,
because it was around the time that the what's his name, the Duck Dynasty guy.
Oh yeah,
it was around the time that happened. They got let go from what is it?
AMC, no,
A&E. And I was like, we just...
That's crazy that like fucking political correctness has evolved from that dude to now the shit happening on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's insane.
And to be fair, I'm not concerned about losing my job. I just don't
it's not about losing my job.
But no, I'm just saying.
It's
for
like,
me personally, it's like my ability to get staffed on things would be affected by people.
I don't care that people know my opinions on things. It's like it's very easy to take this, cut a piece out of it, and uncontextualize what I said. Mm-hmm. And like I feel that I have very complicated opinions on things. I don't know where I sit, like on serious stuff. Yeah, I have very straightforward opinions on that.
I know what you mean. Because complicated issues are complicated.
They're also complicated in the fact that you might get flustered. You might not know what you want to say. Like the classic, it happens to everybody. You get into an argument, but then like fucking 2 days later, it's like, oh fuck, I should have said that.
Which I'll be honest with, some of the stuff I liked about the podcast is when we'd come in and actually fight a bit over real shit instead of like, I'm always going to make jokes about Batman vs Superman. You're always going to get mad at me for doing it, but like it doesn't really matter.
Right. Yeah. Eventually, I liked when we had those, very heated, but eventually real discussions about things. Yeah. Yeah. Then eventually we became another one of those like fanboy things where we just talked about movies
and that was part two. And
I think it's
like,
because the election drained us. That
was the other part from the election, like that had that double side of it because then other people were doing their reactions to the elections, and I would sit there and be like, Colin just fucking said exactly what I wanted to say 2 weeks ago when we reported the podcast, but I don't have the eloquence to say it the way that he does. I don't have his vocabulary. My opinions aren't as formulate, like maybe he has
Fleshed out.
as fleshed out as the politics is new to me, and I only understand like my perception of the politics. Like I just discovered that like I have these conservative views. Like that's a newer thing to me. I always thought I was a liberal for a very long time, and I realized that I wasn't. So like it's a newer thing to me, and I don't know how to like flesh out that opinion. And it's like during the whole election thing, it's like, oh, now I'm an asshole for having conservative opinions too. So like, do I want people to know that? Because then like I would have to then explain them every time like somebody, if like let's say something happened with this and somebody grabs a snippet of this, I'd have to sit there and explain everything, or like.
But they wouldn't listen to you in the first place. That's the problem.
Yeah, but. Yeah.
He means they wouldn't listen to what you were
the
word, meaning behind your words. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like all of that kind of like just came through on like the when that election happened, and I was just like watching things unfold. I'm watching like Twitter unfold, and then the third piece of the election that was that change of opinion for me was that I also didn't want to look at Facebook anymore, and so much of doing this podcast involved me having to look at Facebook because that's one of like. It's weird to say it's a news source, but it was an easy aggregator of like things that people are talking about, and it wasn't like it made it easy for me to like go ahead and look at what's happening and say, well, this is something that I think we would have a different opinion on, so let's try to talk about this topic. And that was the easiest way for me to kind of like pull in things when I was like working and like I didn't have the time to really like sit there and actually produce the show or actually like come up with stuff. So it was like, all right, with the time I have, I can go onto Facebook, see what a lot of like my friends that don't have a podcast are talking about, and like I can bring it to the podcast. And like here's a format where like, you know, the greatest thing that I got from the podcast was that I feel like I have better conversations now. Period. Like way better. Like I can talk way better than anyone I know at this moment when it just comes to casual conversation, and I can talk about shit that like I don't even know anything about. As if I knew a lot about it. Because just like that, it never left, and even like not doing the podcast, I still haven't lost the ability to like go in and kind of see what people are saying about stuff and then formulate my opinion on it and be ready to like talk about just random shit that'll come up. And maybe I won't talk about it, but I'm ready to do it. But yeah, so I don't have to do it anymore, but like out of, you know, part of my life is now doing that, but I get to control it. Like I don't have like if I get really frustrated with like Facebook, it's very okay for me to just turn it off for an entire week, and you know that's something that I couldn't have done while we were doing the podcast. So those were my three things of like I kind of sat there and I was like I think I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
No, I mean I honestly felt like that Juan and I kind of forced the podcast to quit as well. And like I understand that, and I kept trying to say like you guys can do it if you want. I'm just like done.
No, that's I was definitely not in it in the same amount of effort that I was earlier.
Yeah. I think for me what changed is the fact that we were doing it remotely.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I enjoyed like this, like us actually facing each other and bouncing off whatever we were talking about against each other, whether it was you two fighting all the time or whatever. But it was just like, it was a good conversation because we were actually sitting in front of each other. Mm-hmm. I was disengaged because I have a lot of things going on at home. I have like a pet to take care of, a roommate to take care of. So, and then my mom coming over, like, I was never really engaged because things were happening as I was there. Like, right now, even though I kind of look at my phone, I'm more engaged here than I am if I were at home.
Oh, okay.
There's an energy to the room
Yeah.
that we're all feeding off of, and that does not
I feel
translate.
like out of every podcast, like once we started doing it remotely, like it's never been like this.
Yeah, I think we were all like, we had our computers in front of us too, to be honest. We weren't always engaged. Like sometimes I was just looking at articles, but then I'd like get that we were talking about, and then I'd get distracted by something else I saw.
It's much easier to have a conversation when you can physically see how someone's reacting to someone. Yeah. Because it's like, the reason we would get into those heated arguments is like, we would know when like, all right, Steve's into this one, or you would be like, Gio's into this one, so that we would start digging in. And it's good. Like, we know to like, all right, we can grab something out of what we said. I kept saying, I was like, the hardest part of coming up with topics was like, I have no idea when something would grasp or not grasp with you guys, because I have always felt that like my appeal to stuff has always been way different than the rest of you guys. Like I think that stuff would like mesh with the group, and it wouldn't at all. It just meshed with me.
I think we all had that. That happened, I think, with most of the articles I pulled up where I'd share them and be like, I guess this was really just for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that happens,
Yeah.
And occasionally we'd find something. We always, any time we were together, we always ended up finding something to talk about for the...
Yeah, I mean, those episodes were always longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
it was
just,
like easily longer. Like, I felt like we were pulling teeth to get 45 minutes towards the end there.
Yeah. Towards the end, it was just like, I wasn't enjoying it as much as I used to, and it almost felt like it was like something I had to do. It felt like it was like homework, or it felt like it was an assignment that I had to be there, like physically, and it's just like, it lost its appeal to me. Like I said, and I will repeat it again, I enjoyed it when we were actually in the same room and we got to vibe off of each other.
And I think what hurt it when we were remote was that we didn't have the show didn't have a format. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the podcasts I listen to, they don't record together. They're in different states even, but their show has a format like, okay, we've got this news article, we've written out kind of the way it went, and we're going to dig into it. Or we have 5 segments, and we're going to have something for each segment to like fill it in. We were just like, if we find articles to talk about, and so because we didn't have content and we weren't there to feed off of each other, we just couldn't keep it going.
It's funny because that's a newer podcast thing, though. Like, there were so many, when this podcast started, there were so many, like, just straight discussion podcasts. Yeah. And I think what it is was that a lot of these shows have evolved, and they've realized that while they were evolving, that you have to have some sort of format to keep it going past episode.
It's interesting because all the ones I listened to, like when I joined, like the podcast I was into back at that time, like the Twit Network and things, like everything was segmented, and that's how they kind of managed to do their shows, because they were usually calling people in, or
I listened
the
to
Night
a lot
Attack
of,
podcast. I like one of them lives in California and one of them lives in Texas, and they would have to have a plan.
I listened to like a lot of the Smodcast shows.
Yeah, but they're all together. I was listening to more podcasts where the people were working via
so
Skype,
like
so they had to have a plan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to riff off people when you're just talking to each other.
Yeah.
We went to the movies, we had lunch, we've been talking pretty much nonstop since then.
Yeah. We could have just reiterated the last 2 hours of
like
what we've been doing.
That could have been something.
Yeah. But remote, you can't.
And I mean, Juan, you hit a big thing. It's like, there's so many fucking podcasts now.
Yep.
So, like, I feel like it's uncool.
We needed something to make us unique.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, sure, we have like the numbers of episodes, but that doesn't distinguish anything because we don't have like a crazy following, so that doesn't mean anything.
We
weren't really getting people tweeting back to us from the downloads.
Like it was way more engaging before, and it was because now there's just so many podcasts to listen to, and it's like the stuff with like, and shout out to Abnormal, that was really cool to get to work with them towards the end, and it sucks that like that partnership happened towards the end.
And as opposed to the beginning or in the middle.
Because I definitely could have seen like doing something with those guys, or like doing more. But
whatever happened to doing the other show with them? Is that going anywhere?
I think it involves me deciding that I want to do podcasts again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also easier to do something when you're not responsible.
Yeah, and you just have to show up and be the voice.
Show up and be, so that's even...
Because I thought that was a good idea.
It's a great idea for a show. I now more, and I guess we can switch the conversation of what are we doing now, sort of thing. I now more see it as like, so I got so much out of like doing a podcast, right? Like I'm better now at conversations. I feel like, our friendships have definitely like flourished from this. Yeah, I would have said before us, like Steve and I, like before us doing the podcast, and even Evelyn and myself, like, I don't think that when this started, if the podcast didn't exist, we wouldn't be as friendly as we are.
No, because it literally was the pickup from when we got back from Japan. Had that podcast not existed,
yeah, like
I wouldn't have talked to you again.
Like,
we wouldn't have gone to Japan again.
I don't, and I can just say on a first name basis what to say. I don't talk to John, right? Like, I don't talk to John that much anymore.
Yeah.
And I had another trip that's similar to that. Like, I don't talk to Greg or the other John as much as I do from that. It's definitely like, I talked to Arnold, but like that's
because you guys
yeah.
were friends. But like that,
Yeah.
the podcast was how we kept hanging out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Steve and I used to be, well, not when we were classmates for.
We were friends.
months.
We were
Yeah,
friends for
yeah.
a year when
Yeah, but
we
then-
were in the class together and hung
and
out
then-
in your place.
That died out because I stopped taking Japanese classes, and then
Yeah, now
we
you guys
met
are
again when
buddies.
you were pledging to your fraternity.
Yep.
Oh
Damn
my
it,
god.
hard.
And then this is the third.
God
like,
forbid a
after
serious
you got
conversation
back
that
from-
Gio's not
yeah.
in.
You know, it's yeah. I you know. there are
Yeah,
a lot of-
like,
we've
I-
been friends
Yeah.
more and not stop being friends more times, and now we've like I think this is stuck.
And I think that was my concern with dropping the podcast is it forced us to like hang out, and I was like, I don't know if we're still going to do that once the podcast ends, which it's been a couple months, and we're still like catching
Yeah,
up
so-
occasionally.
yeah.
We still got the group chat. We'll go see movies together and stuff and hang out.
No, I
we're
love
celebrating
the
your
group chat.
birthday in June, so like things are still going on. Yeah,
The ice cream party that I did not get invited to.
I did actually. I think I did tell you guys before I sent it out, and you were like, "I can't make it." I told you before I sent out the
You
invites.
sent it out and you were like, Gio, I know you can't make it.
Oh, okay. I did verify that. It's because I was gonna buy a ticket to go with you, and then my sister was like, "I'm coming this
It's
weekend."
okay.
And I was like, "Oh,
It's alright. I'm
Sorry.
gonna do it kind of funny instead. I'm gonna see The Rock. I'm gonna be with my bae. Where was I going?
We're talking about what we got.
Stuff
out
that
of it.
we got. Yeah. So the next step. So that idea I think is great. I think what I see myself doing now is that I did like from the podcast, and again I'm going to be pretentious. I did like having an artistic avenue because so much of what I do is unartistic at all. It's so stale and like where I sit in my business involves me being the most unartistic person possible, and that's what makes me really good at my job. Like I just see numbers as what they are. I see things as what they are, and I just act on things. Like I don't do anything like creative at all, and that makes me really good at what I do. So I need to have something like that. I've always said, you know, I think it's foolish to think that you can work in something you love because you always have to pay the bills and somebody's going to have to take care of it. And a lot of people that have had the opportunity to like have these careers where they don't do it is because either they got lucky and were able to like monetize their creativeness early somehow and make it like very successful, or they were lucky to be in a situation where they didn't have to worry about money and they could be creative. But I'm not in that situation. I do have to worry about money. I do have to sustain myself. So it's cool to have, all right, I do this to make money, and then I'm going to do something else that's like my passion. So I'm trying to figure out what that is now. I definitely feel like I'm driving towards video more. I want to like do more with that. Like I really got into, you know, using a camera while this was happening, and I feel like I have my own vision for that. And you know, it's also like a very with Instagram and shit like that, there's also a shit ton of people doing that. So maybe that's not what I do because I don't want to be like,
It's becoming saturated there too.
yeah. And it's like, it sucks because I always see like people there and I'm like, I hate this photography because sure it's good, but your photography just looks like other people's photography. Like it doesn't look different, you know. And like I don't see anything of you in it, so you can't really like call it art, in my opinion. Like I look at it and I'm like, you're not driving towards a vision, and it's fine that you have like a vision that's other people's vision, but like there's no like. It's soulless, like what you said about Ghost in the Shell. Like I don't see any part of you there, but I do see something there in my own. So I'm like, all right, well, I do feel in my like maybe I'm not the best or like I'm not even close to it. Maybe I'm not at a level where I could be professional at it in any sort of way, but I do see like, all right, I take pictures in my own way. So how do I put that together with like the audio that I know how to do? How do I put that together with these other things that I've been doing and do something new? I don't know what that is yet. But I like having the time now in the week to kind of think about that. So that's kind of what I'm doing with my free time.
How about
No.
you? So,
No.
no, nothing.
Nothing?
I mean, I haven't really. I'm just trying to pass this exam for work right now. I have no idea what I want my hobby to be once I make some changes to have more free time in my life. I mean, there's just basic stuff. I want to go to the gym or run or bike more just to be in shape. But I haven't figured out like anything creative. That whole like seeing a vision in people's art, I can't see that. Like I don't think art's necessarily something I could do well in because I don't think I have an eye for. I can't see other people's. You know, I need videos like some of the ones you suggest to like explain what cuts are, so I understand what cuts are. Because I'm like, I don't see that shit.
Dude,
I always thought that for like I always thought I didn't have a creative side. And I think it's just like you're eventually going to find what is your creative side.
Oh, I know what it is. It's
What?
bad puns, but I can't. I can't do anything with it.
Serious note, like I don't mean to take over your turn.
No, go ahead.
One of the biggest mistakes I think or misconceptions I think is that you can't learn to be creative, and I think everybody can. And I've always said that since I was younger. Like, if you know how to draw, you can learn how to draw. You don't have to have been born at it. That just means
It's true.
you start sooner than everyone else.
You get your 10,000 hours in earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
I
you don't realize it until you've done it for a while, and that's why I do like photography a lot too, because I could always like pick up my phone and look at some of the first photos I took versus the photos that I take now without even fucking trying, and I'll just like pick the phone up and like do it. Like I don't need to look, and I just like do it.
It was a moment, and he would know when we saw at the drive-in, and I love when every time I see those guys, at least the Cedric and Omar, the two fronts, I get some sort of inspiration that lasts for a very long time, and I need to know how to do that myself. He said right before they played their last song that when they used to play in some backwater alley in Texas, there would be nobody there, but the drummer would be like, they'd want to go home, but the drummer's like, no, we got to play to nobody. And then one day, you told that guy what you heard, you told them, and now look at us. Like, shit, I forgot where I was going. But, you know, like it takes time.
Right.
And,
and you don't realize it.
You don't realize it. And it's inspiring to hear someone who's already achieved so much. You know, there is luck and there's timing and all that stuff.
But there's effort, too.
But there's effort, too. Yeah. You know, it takes... The Beatles played thousands of shows before... You know, I Want to Hold Your Hand came out, believe it or not. You know,
yeah, they played multiple shows every night for years and years. I heard that.
I mean, I think there's also inspiration from this podcast in the sense that we started it and we did it and we never got to a point where I would say over like I don't even think we have like 20 or 30 subscribers that are like subscribed. We have like per episode more listeners than that, but that doesn't mean the 20 or 30 people are subscribed.
Who like follow us.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't even think we have that. But for 150 episodes, we did it. And then that kind of sits me there, and I'm like, well, that means that all our episodes are at least an hour. So we spent 150 hours at least on this, plus the time that it took to ever get here, the time it ever took to set up, the time that ever we recorded an episode and fucked it up, plus the episodes that like are extra episodes. We actually have like 160. So then you add all that shit up together, you're closer like to something, whatever. But still, you think about that, and I'm like, that takes away kind of like that fear of I had, where like sometimes I sit there and I'm like, you know, I always kind of wish like I would just make a movie for like the shit of it, and like it could be like a terrible movie and I don't care, and like nobody could like it, but
then you've done it.
But then I've done it, and like I always remember that we sat there and remember that time we made that movie, and I keep watching these
talked about that in Japan briefly.
Yeah, and it's like. I keep watching like these documentaries about that. Like I watched this documentary about these kids that did a shot-for-shot remake of the first Indiana Jones. What is that? The
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I saw this other one. I saw just yesterday. I saw
the other Indiana Jones movie.
No,
I don't know where I was trying to.
I'm trying to remember the blowjob thing. What is it called? Snowball.
So you saw Clerks?
I saw the documentary about how Clerks was made, and I'm like, I was telling Juan, I was like, he just woke up one morning and decided to make like legit how Clerks was made. He woke up one morning and decided to make the movie. He just maxed out all his credit cards. He had no like his desire with that movie was just to get it to play at the Angelica. Then it happened, and they were like. Nobody watched it, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" And then literally the day after, like all these people started like hype on it. So I just sit there. I'm like, so what's the fear then of like doing the thing that you want to do? And from that, I've been able to catapult and like I'm finally learning Japanese. I'm also finally learning Japanese because I'm gonna need it in like a month. But
you going again?
Yeah.
Nice.
You don't know that?
I don't think you've told me.
I sent it on the chat.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to Japan.
Okay.
I don't have Steve this time, so I can't really get around.
Where are you going?
I bought a train pass again, so
Okay.
we're going all sorts
2
of
weeks?
places. 15 days, so 2 weeks,
Wow.
yeah. Going with Armand, and it was just gonna be me, because I was like, the day, I decided to go to Japan the day that I went to Austin, because it was like, I was sitting at the United thing, and remember I kept telling you that my points expire in June?
Yeah.
And and then you were like, well, you can just do this, like, make your points last longer. And I was sitting in the Newark airport, not the Austin. I was sitting in the Newark terminal for United, and I'm like, this is a fucking shit show. I don't ever want to take a United plane again. I wasn't even on the plane. And then I was like, sat down the next day, and I was like, how can I just get rid of all my points? So I was able to get first class back and forth on my birthday.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to be there from the 19th to the 5th, and that's why we can't go see Guardians when it comes out.
Got it.
Yeah. And then Armand joined, and then he invited, like, 2 guys that we go drinking with every so often. But not everyone's staying for the length of it.
Got it.
So I don't know where we're going all the time. I do know that while they're there, they want to do, like, the stuff that they have, like Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto. But I think I'm going to go down to Fukuoka.
Yeah. How's your
really
Japanese?
enjoyed it. Huh?
How's your Japanese?
Hajimemashite.
Okay.
He-
Can you ask directions?
Torio wa doku desu ka?
Okay.
That's it.
Alright.
When you tell me where it is, I have no idea what that means.
Usually they point and stuff. You can figure it out. Yeah.
Ow.
I feel like that'll lead me everywhere, because then I can go, Izakaya wa doku desu ka?
And there's
Biru
no point
wa doku desu
everywhere.
ka?
But other than that,
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm thinking about planning a trip. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I like the idea of like trying to take my camera and shoot some stuff when I'm there.
I
Just
think
a matter of how much space that's going to take up in my pack, because it would be a long trip.
I mean, I think everyone should think about it this way. Like, you have an extra hour in your week. So take it and do something with it. Like, I don't know what you do with it. It's an hour.
it's
Done
2
an hour
hours.
35 so far.
Oh,
Just 10 minutes that we lost.
you don't have it this week, but
Yeah.
next week. I don't know. Just think about that. Like, you have an extra hour in your life. You can do something with it. I've lightly learned Japanese, very lightly. I've watched more YouTube videos. It doesn't mean that you do anything.
I'd probably do it later, but I wanna take some dance classes just so I can do basics, because I can't.
There you go.
I go to weddings and I'm just
I guess
like,
if
yeah,
I-
right, have fun, guys.
No, I guess if I learned anything from yours, I learned that it's okay to not like what everyone likes and not have everyone like what you like. You know, like we said, we all have different opinions on things. And younger me would have been like, "What? You know what?" You know, and now I don't really give a shit.
I think this podcast has pointed out, though, more so that other people don't like the things that I like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay.
I thought, like, I
I
definitely
think
sat
in most
there.
cases, I think a majority of people aren't going to like what
Yeah.
any
No,
of
but
us
I
like.
mean it in the sense that, like, I think before recording this podcast, I would have thought that Juan liked a lot more of the things that I like, but we just never talked about it.
Yeah.
So it would just be like, oh, you like this thing? And he'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, yeah. But you didn't have the
Not
discussion.
to the
And
same
I'd sit there and
degree.
I'm like, it's a fucking 10. And he's like, it's a 5.
Here's why.
Yeah.
And here's why. And Gio was like,
And she was like, la 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 la.
It's a 10!
Yeah, that's a good point.
What the?
Yeah, because I was the same way coming out of college, like
so
annoying liberal college fuck. Like, how can you not all believe X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, people are different, and there are reasons for things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to hate everyone.
I do, though.
Yeah.
can.
Everyone learned how to beat people up.
I did.
Yeah,
From
I mean,
when we
you've done a
first
good-
started.
Yeah.
You've done a good
Yeah.
job with
You've been
your
taking-
hour, even though you always had that hour. You've been
Now
doing
it's
it for
now
a
it's
while.
2 hours.
Do you go to the kickboxing more?
I mean, it depends on how I feel during the day. I do get tired more now because I get stressed out.
Because you're old.
That too. But no. I try to do 3 to 4 times a week. But other than that, I don't know. A friend of mine and myself were discussing his podcast because he actually has one and he does like the whole video thing. And promotes it more than I think we ever did for this one. And so he was telling me, he was like, I think you should go for your own. Get like one of your other friends and chat with it, like do like videos and stuff. Like you have a knack to just like talk about whatever, like when you're in person with other people. So I was just like, maybe I'll check it out. It is something that I do enjoy. But yeah, I don't know.
What would you do it about? Or...
I don't think I have anything specific. I know there's like a lot of like gaming things. I do like the format that what's her name? Anna Faris has. She has her own podcast, and she's just like bullshitting. It was like she's having like a regular conversation. Like her personality is somewhat similar to what I am in real life. So that may come out as a did sometimes, but whatever. It's just like the way that she has her podcast and her talking about like stupid stuff with the guests, be it actors or whatever, was fun. Is fun and entertaining to me. So maybe something along those lines. I did enjoy when I had that solo episode when you guys were in Japan that one time, where my friend Vanessa and I kind of like vibed off of each other, and we were like just talking about stuff that we grew up with. So maybe it'll be in that kind of like formula, but I don't know. We'll see. It's not something that I've already like set in stone. It was just like something that kind of was like an idea that sparked, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll see. But other than that, I mean, I have a new job again, so that's been... I'm not saying.
You have a new job?
Since she's...
Since I started, and then like maybe a few months ago.
Since 3 years ago, and then she's still...
Since I joined.
Oh, you were announcing that like I was like, did you quit?
She's like, this is me.
I'm like, are you telling me something?
This is me breaking news.
No. So, I mean, like, from when we...
Guys, this is what I have to fucking deal with on a daily basis.
I mean, she also has to deal with you. So.
Yeah.
Not
it
as
could go
much.
both
I am
ways.
so hands off. Are you kidding me? I just let people do whatever they want to do.
Obviously.
Your thing about podcasts, maybe an interesting question. If I know you're not interested in doing it, I'm kind of not. But if you were to do it again, like say we start from episode 1, or not we, because my answer would is what. How would you want to do it if you did a podcast? My answer, and the reason I said not we, is because if I did it again, I'd want to do it on my own. Just me, like, solo. Like Bill Burr does, or... she's the only person I know that does him. I know there's other people, too, but...
Isn't Joe Rogan's on his own? Or does
Joe Rogan has...
No, he always has somebody talking to.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's guests.
He's the only consistent member.
Yeah,
Got it.
It's his show.
Yeah.
But I would do like Bill Burr and just talk to myself about things. Give my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would want to talk to other people. I prefer the disagreement and the dialogue that goes along.
So
with
you
that.
don't like two people always agreeing? One
No. I mean, it could be from 2 to 4, maybe 2 to 3. I think 4 might get a bit too much, but no, it's some kind of a dialogue. Not in the sense of this was too much, but I'm just thinking I wouldn't want it to be 2 because sometimes they're just like, yeah, we agree. There's nothing to talk about here. I don't know what it would need. I just feel like it would need some kind of a format to it to keep it like so. There'd be some way it could run for at least X time where we're not like, yeah, we don't really have anything to talk about this week. I have no idea because once we kind of ended it, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of okay for a little bit. And unless I have a real idea for like what I think I'd be bringing, there's now tens of thousands of podcasts, and I don't just want to throw noise into it. I don't need to think it's going to be the next WTF, but I'd want to be like, here's something that doesn't exist currently. Because me just shouting my opinions at things, there's other people doing that.
I would do much shorter. Because I understand now, like I had to like... See, that was the hard part always whenever you... And not usually you guys, but other people would tell me like, oh, the podcast is just too long. And I'm like...
That's why I
But I love... Like, the reason I liked doing the podcast was the conversation. If I ever cut short the conversation, then I lost the reason to do the podcast. So I would have never wanted to do the podcast. So my idea here, I don't think I would do it myself. Like, I would probably just produce and chime in every so often. But, like, now I can sit there and be like, well, this is what you need and this is what you do. And I can set you up in, like, fucking 5 minutes and I can just show up to your thing. I think that, the producer in me says, if we did, like, something around my industry, very short, and hit, like, hot topics every so often. I know the people in my industry fucking love hearing themselves talk, and I could like make money out of it, and I could like make something that would be like some sort of business resource, and it would be totally like that's the other reason I wouldn't want to be on it, because I would like put everything into it where I sit there and I'm like, this is a way that this is gonna be popular, and I would never like I would constantly force it to do the stuff that it needs to do to be popular, as opposed to what I actually want to do with it. And I think that I have like a few ideas to make that work. Had I not been as high up as I am right now, I would have totally went for it because it like makes sense. But like, it doesn't make sense for me to do it. Like, I don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah.
There's
I think Goldman Sachs does that actually. There's like some companies that have started doing like podcasts on what's going on in their industry.
Yeah.
Which is one way to do it. I mean, obviously you're looking at a much smaller audience because it's targeted towards people in the industry, but they're more likely to stick around.
Yeah, but like, it's easier to monetize it because it's easier to justify like, oh, okay, like this is why you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna help you in your job. Like we're talking about programmatic today, and you know, listen to us. We're industry leaders talking about this shit, and people would pay for it. And like,
I couldn't do that in my industry.
Yeah. I think you could. I think you could find something.
I mean, I could.
Like, do you guys have conferences? Because that's what my idea is. Like, they constantly have those conferences, and the information that they throw out is actually sometimes valuable, but the way that they do it is like really the reason that people go to the conferences. Like, they just want to be out of the office
like fucking boring
and drink.
as shit in the way that they present it.
Right. So I would take that and make it into a more like unboring way to present it. A, by making it super short. B, like making it super like topic driven, and then I can do like an interactive
theoretically.
thing.
I just can't see myself wanting to devote the time in the industry I'm in to learning enough to be able to consistently put out content. Because I'm not currently staying up on the news in it.
I do on mine.
Right, but you like yours more.
I don't think so.
I think you like your industry more than I like my industry. I'm not saying you like it.
Yeah.
I'm doing a comparison.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, I like podcasts a lot. I've noticed my listening style has shifted. I used to listen to more entertainment stuff. Now I'm listening to more things to learn, like stuff you should know, Pod Save the World. Like, I want to learn a little bit of something. I've been listening to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, things like that, and I'm like, I don't have the history basis, like Colin, for example, to do something like that right now.
Oh, I started listening to a drag queen podcast.
About being a drag queen?
Oh, RuPaul's? Okay.
RuPaul has her own podcast. So I've gone closer back to the entertainment industry.
Nice.
But yeah.
I still have some, but not as many.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up.
That's what she said.
That does, I mean, yeah, I guess.
Some do. Others are like,
No glove, no love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
the
just be
glove
crazy.
don't fit. You must have quit.
What?
If you can't put the condom
Don't
on, then
say
you gotta
that.
quit.
Oh, I thought that was like... It's like, I don't know what sex you're having with gloves, but, I mean, to each their own.
But, so yeah, this is, for real, the last episode of You Should Sleep Pod. What I'm going to do is our subscription to Libsyn ends on April 1st. So I'm going to actually upload the last 2 episodes to Libsyn, but you'll have 2 weeks to listen to them. Or 1 week to listen to them. And I believe our library deletes.
Really?
When Libsyn deletes. Because I'm not paying them anymore. So
Right, so why would they keep posting it?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know. I actually don't know what happens.
I assume
Because it says close the show, and I don't know what that means. But a lot of podcasts, when they stop having their podcast, they still have the episodes up. So
Maybe it'll just be there, but you're
I
closing
would think
the
you've got to pay for it, because why would they keep
I think you have
posting
to
all
pay for it.
the...
Yeah, it's a lot of
all the content.
Yeah, it's a lot of content to host. So that would be your last opportunity to listen to it. But what I could do, and Kevin, thanks, is I can upload this episode directly to the Abnormal Entertainment, which was what we used to do by mistake when we first partnered with them, and it's why we wouldn't see like the listeners that we had from them, because it's hosted in a different location.
Right.
Got it.
So I can host it there until he decides to delete it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that he just allows that option because he has some sort of like mass upload things. So having this one episode up is not crazy.
Yep.
So I'll upload it there. You can listen to the last episode forever.
Which is at abnormalentertainment.com.
Over. So I'll tweet this out as well. But if you want to listen to any of our podcasts, you have to download them in the next 7 days. Have fun. And that's it. Deuces.
Adios.
Bum, 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 bum.
You said it wrong.
Till,
This has been Eat Shit Sleep Pod.
no, I never said that. I always said till next week. This is You Should Sleep Pod, but there's no next week.
Then you can say that.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
the
now
end
I just
for
said-
So, at this point, this has been Each
I
to
skipped
Sleep Pod.
it. I skipped it straight to Deuces because...
Wait, did I tell you guys the story about the Segway owner and how he went off a cliff?
Yes.
Head to abnormalentertainment.com for all of our podcasts and blogs. Go to cinemaheadcheese.com for our movie reviews and news. Don't forget our YouTube channels, Abnormal Podcast and Cinema Head Cheese. Get us on Twitter, @AbnormalPodcast. And find all of our shows and Abnormal Entertainment on Facebook.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.